Hello, Internet. Welcome back to the Fast Travel Lounge. You're listening to episode 75. My name's Patrick. I'm joined by Saif. Say hi.
Hello.
And Steve. Say hi.
Yep, the boys are on here. State of Origin season in the greatest state in the world, New South Wales.
God, we're talking about sports, are we?
Yep. Well, you guys will have your nerd video game chat soon. So we'll get all the footy. Footy hasn't started. Footy starts at 8:05, and it is currently 7:32.
Do you think he wanted us to start late today so he could interrupt whatever we're talking about in half an hour's time with footy?
Well, one of our most popular episodes was when we did live cutaways to professional sports correspondent Steve in the field. Like, literally in the field.
You literally say professional sports correspondent, and I have trouble catching a ball sometimes. But you know what? The important thing is that hang on. Stream's over. But oh well, it'd be like that sometimes.
I guess it do. Speaking of needing to push things back to start late, anyone played Gollum recently?
No, it's on the news docket, but we can talk about it now if you want.
Oh, not necessarily looking to talk
Do
about
we
it now.
need to talk about it?
Yeah, let's. Hey kids, let's dunk on the bad video game.
Yeah, no, bad video game doesn't begin to describe it. It's bad and broken. Bad halfway describes it.
Questioning if it should have been shipped in the first place.
Questioning if it should have been fucking made in the first place.
Yeah. Man, 75 really got off to a banger start, huh?
You know what? No, video games are good. Zelda's came out 2 weeks ago. Fantastic game.
That's old news. Gollum is newer.
Oh, Street Fighter 6 is newish.
That's still not out. So we're still stuck in the in-between time.
Didn't we get a review code?
No, I had to pre-order it like a schmuck.
You actually fucking pre-ordered the game. Every fucking week I'm like, Seth, you're a fucking idiot. Never pre-order games. 75% off minimum.
I was given half the money for it.
Steve, let's be fair here. You're the one that loaded the pre-order gun and put it in Seth's hand when you posted it's a 9 out of 10 by IGN.
9 out of 10. It's not even fucking worth it. I play
You're
games
right,
at 10
9
out
out
of
of
10.
10 is a shit game. Well, we should move on.
Yep. Street Fighter 6. What can they do? What can they do? Oh, this guy punches in 4K or whatever.
They made like a 20-hour RPG story mode.
Mortal Kombat Deception did that fucking 20 years ago, man.
Yeah, and no one's done it since Mortal Kombat Deception.
Because how can you prove on perfection?
Wait.
3D platformer should have stopped at Mario 64. There I say.
Guys, we know that Mortal Kombat 1's coming out soon. Are we allowed to talk about any game that isn't Mortal Kombat 1?
Yes, in fact, we can talk about every game that isn't Mortal Kombat 1 and just ignore that.
But the crazy part is every game that isn't Mortal Kombat 1 means we can't talk about like 4 games. That's such a stupid stat.
I hate Mortal Kombat.
Fuck you.
You know what, Seth? If you hate it so much,
fine, I'll rephrase for you, Stephen. I hate Mortal Kombat's naming convention.
There we go. If you hate it so much, why don't you go fight some streets?
I will. In fact, there's refrigerators in those streets that need to be fought.
Speaking of refrigerators and naming conventions, how about the Xbox naming conventions? Yep.
Yeah, they're just as bad as Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I'm literally seething and crying right now.
Remember the X-Bone? Yeah.
Remember the Xbox
X-Bone
One
now,
X, or was
right?
it the Xbox Series X? I can't remember which one's the new one. They both have X in it.
Yeah, it's so true.
Xbox Series. Of course, Xbox is always going to have an X in it. What are you talking about? So,
like 360.
It's always going to have 2 X's in it minimum.
And then a B and an O.
The third X is my wife.
The third X is that guy's
Oh,
wife.
so you're that guy.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Cut a commercial.
Steve, you and I need to go fight some streets later. Wait, I need to fight you on some streets later. That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Anyway, round of lunch for this week, other than not playing Gollum. Steve, what else have you been up to?
Persona. Oh, yeah, I've been playing Persona 3. I've actually been playing it for some time.
Why'd you do it in that voice?
Because that's how they say it in that game.
Well, no, that's how they say it in Persona 4. And that's specifically
which Persona were you playing?
Sorry, I'm playing Persona 3. I'm playing the remastered Persona 3 Portable that's on Game Pass.
Oh, playing the shit version, are we?
Yeah, what version should I play?
FES on the emulator, like a king.
Hold up. Seth sounded exactly like Daring Today, Are We, Squidward? It's like bar for bar, the same enthusiasm.
But yeah, so that game came out a while ago, and I'm currently playing it. You know what? Let's get into it a bit later.
Okay, well, I'll take that as a challenge. Maybe we will. Steve. Then what?
I'll talk about it. What a
Sounds
strange
good.
thing to say. What a strange thing to say, my friend.
Stranger Things have. Wait, we're not talking about
hang
Stranger
on.
Things.
That's a
Oh,
TV
no,
show.
Sorry, I was so ready for it. It's just because I saw David Harbour on a video recently.
Don't know who that is.
God, fucking every episode is a fucking chore with you, Steve.
I watch like
David Harbour's like the one of the main people. in Stranger
David
Things.
Harbour.
He's the
that guy.
The cop. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't watch Stranger Things, but I know I've known him
Well, you know what
from.
they say,
He's also going to be in the Gran
Stranger Things
Turismo movie.
Shit, that's right. Yeah.
Wasn't he in No, I thought he was in.
Yeah, go on, finish that.
No. I thought he was in Knives Out, but I'm thinking of somebody else.
Unless it's the
No, I haven't seen the
new
new
one. Yeah, no, he's not in the old one. Cool. All right. Seth, what have you been up to this week?
You know, besides playing more Tears of the Kingdom, I am going to do that thing that Stephen hates and talk about one of the 8 wrestling shows that I'm going to talk about on the podcast.
All right, everybody, get your honk and shoes ready.
Steve.
Honk and shoe.
Steve. Okay, first, very clever. The second thing, you're the one that literally wants to preempt the audience with we will cut live to sports reporting later on in this.
Yeah. Well, I would love to do that, but for some reason, both my monitors have wet the bed. And I'm scared of unplugging the thing because it'll ruin the recording, and the editor will king hit me, or as they call it, having a biff, as they'd call it in Origin.
He will show up at your house with a refrigerator, and
Hang
you
on,
won't know why.
I'm on. I force quit Chrome, and we're back on.
I'll
We're
have a
back on.
USB with his audio on it and make him listen to it.
It doesn't mean anything for me. I don't do it. Like, I'll listen to it and then I'll release it.
Yeah, in
He has no
the
idea.
wrestling front, just to hype it, Patrick up for this. This is the one with Kenny Omega here, and he may or may not have been milked this week.
Sorry?
I'm going back to a reference to last week's episode that people can listen to.
That might be the most compelling breadcrumb to an earlier episode I've ever heard you drop.
Yeah, trying to find a part where Patrick was excited about Kenny Omega getting milked.
What is wrong with you, weirdo?
And I say this every week. Every previous episode is just a fever dream to me.
Yeah, it sort of does feel like that.
As for me, well, what game do we think is coming out this weekend, guys? Pretty big, pretty popular game.
Borderlands 4.
Mass Effect 5.
Diablo 7.
I love that you guys you guys have pigeonholed me so well. Even though you were going for the joke of Borderlands 4 and Mass Effect 5, both of those games. The joke I was gonna make is that Diablo 4 is coming out, so I've been playing an old classic Borderlands 2. But no, you're just going fuck the joke like you always do.
But you know we can't let you have nice things.
I'm just shocked that you said Borderlands 4 and Mass Effect 5. Like, one of them I was ready for, but both, that's my entire being. The next thing you'll say is, like, Monster Hunter 6, just to, like, cap it off.
That's coming later in the docket, don't worry.
Yeah, true. Anyway, yeah, I've been playing Borderlands 2. Gallivanting through the old classic, because I keep talking about how great the game is, and it's nice to be validated, because I'm always right. Why don't we get... Okay, I'm going to throw this one to Steve. Steve, you want wrestling chat now? You want wrestling chat later? It's coming. You just have to choose when.
Let's go later, because it's like only 20 to 8. Kickoff's at 8. I can just watch footy. What are you guys talking about?
He's going
Game
to
wrestling.
wait for it to start, so that way he can yell over me when Origin is on.
Hang on.
Isn't State of Origin just like the cricket version of a Royal Rumble, though?
Hold on, let him cook.
Cricket. No.
No, that's it. The recipe is very. It's like a what's the? It's a degustation platter. That's it. That's all there is.
Degustation platter, he says.
Sorry, decrustation platter. I hate crabs.
Well, hang on.
Mister, and otherwise. Okay, well,
you
if you
Mr.
want
Krabs
wrestling,
pay super?
what,
like
like
retirement plan?
matching employee contribution, or
Yeah,
like, what do you mean?
Yeah, matching employee contribution.
Fuck
I don't
no.
think he pays taxes.
Oh, hang on. Get the IRS involved.
Didn't they literally kill a health inspector on the Krusty Krab grounds?
Probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Like,
be surprised if that happened at some point.
Clearly he has no fear. Like, what are they going to do? Send another health inspector that he just goes and kills?
You know, it's really odd that whenever we send a health inspector to this specific location, they don't return.
But you just don't tell anybody.
They just went for a ciggy break.
Okay.
It was fine when he left here.
Hear me out. Let me cook on this one, gents. A health inspector is like a doctor where they are inspecting your health. So all Mr. Krabs needs to do is put an apple somewhere in the Krusty Krab, and then all the problems disappear.
No, they're actually putting it on. They have to be able to see the apple, so you can't hide it.
Okay, alternative theory. When the health inspector enters the Krusty Krab, Mr. Krabs goes and puts apples in a ring around the outside of the Krusty Krab, kind of like a sea bear circle, but in reverse, preventing the escape of the health inspector.
What about the escape? Actually, I was going to be like, oh no, what are they parachuting in from above? But maybe not.
Think of it like arena trap. Like, actually, wow. Okay, even more cooking going on. Mr. Krabs does try to trap pinch every penny.
Okay, this man.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You know what? We're taking the joke too far.
We are. We always do.
Borderlands 2, to talk us out. Do we have album of the week, Pat?
No. Borderlands 2. All right, Borderlands 2. I don't actually know why. Oh, no, I do actually. Someone just randomly on my friends list has just been playing Borderlands 2 recently for no reason. Nothing. There's been no new patch or anything. Although apparently there has been, but I'll get to that. And so I, being the most chatted up individual in the Discord, look at that simple man playing Borderlands 2 and I go, well, now I have a reason to carry someone because I put 700 something hours into Borderlands 2 that got to go put those hours to good use somewhere, doing the Lord's work, carrying plebs to max level. Which is funny considering that since the last update before Borderlands 3 came out, I have not reached max level with any characters. So basically saw that and then got reinvigorated after all the chat, mostly on here about how great Borderlands 2 has been, and in light of the absolute disasters of games that have come out recently. Not in games that I have any intent on playing. Like, I was never going to play Golem even if people said it was good, but just that every time something like this happens, I think back to how good that era of gaming was and how much games had to differentiate themselves to get people to play them because of how strong the market was at that time.
You are right. Old video game good.
There we go. Saying that for years. And so, yeah, jumped on Borderlands 2. Finally got around to getting 100% Steam achievements. So you can praise me if you'd like, Steve. I know that you're a big fan of this.
That is genuinely insane because I thought about doing the same thing when I was playing Borderlands 2 a while back. And you've got to do like what, a playthrough with every character?
No.
Plus a whole, no? But you've got to reach like a certain level cap with every character or something?
Sort of. So the... Okay, I'm going to walk that back slightly. It might be that you need to get a certain distance with each character. I'm not sure, but the ones that spring to mind...
It's something like that. Like I got 2 playthroughs through and I'm like, I'm done. Like I love Borderlands, but I literally burnt out.
The ones that spring to mind are each character has an achievement related to their action skill. So, for example, one of the last skills that I had to get was achievements that I had to get was gun zerking for 90 seconds as Salvador.
I think that's probably what I'm thinking of, yeah. There was something you have to reach, whether it's a point or a certain skill.
Exactly, yeah. Which is much easier to do if you're a high enough level that you can gun zerk 90 seconds. And so, so somehow, of all of the achievements in the game, there were maybe 6 or 7 that I hadn't got, which is really funny because you look at when you unlocked them, and so many of them are like the 2012 to like 2014 block, and then there's just like a little trickle down at the end of like 2023. The ones that I had to get, a lot of them were doing every side quest in the DLCs, the story DLCs. So every side quest in Campaign of Carnage, every side quest in Hammerlocks, discovering every named location in Hammerlocks. Much more painful than it sounds.
That's because there are like certain trigger points to those locations, aren't there?
Yes. And so what is a blessing and a curse is that because Hammerlock specifically is quite a vertical map, some of the areas that you need to check whether or not you've got are above or below parts of the map that you can see. So like what I mean is like your map will just have like a spot in the middle that you haven't seen yet. And you're like, that must be it. And you walk there and there's nothing there. It's not a named location. It's just like a little extension to like the existing map. And so you're like, okay, there's somewhere else that I need to go and look for. So finally when I got that, there were, the Salvador one I mentioned. I think there was one other. Oh yes, defeating the Invincible Dragons from Tiny Tina's DLC. I'm shocked that I had never done that until now. I think I have, but I think I did it when it was in offline mode or the achievement didn't proc, because I knew I knew what to do. So like I've done it before. It just wasn't, I didn't have the achievement for some reason. So I got that. And then a few of the achievements were related to the last DLC, the Fight for Sanctuary DLC. So that was equipping a rainbow gear piece in every slot except class mod, defeating the Dark Web.
Fight for Sanctuary? I don't remember that at all.
That's the fifth one. That's the bridge from Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 3.
Oh, I did not know that existed.
Yeah, okay. So this is why I say the last DLC, and I didn't have anything at max level. So initially, after Tiny Tina's dropped, which was the last official DLC, the last big story DLC, the max level was 72, and you could go up to OP 8, which meant that you had an effective level of 80, and that was where everything was. And then in preparation for Borderlands 3, they surprise launched a final story DLC, the Fight for Sanctuary, which is the fifth story DLC for Borderlands 2, which increased the levels from 72 to 80 and means that you can now go to OP 10, so your effective level is now 90. And so that's great, but it means that all the gear that you grinded for at 72 is now worthless. And so I had everyone at 72 except Necromancer, who is still at 59-ish. And now my Siren, which is just the one that I picked out to play with the other guy, because he's got stuff at 80. And so, we're going to go back and grind some stuff at 010 and do the sort of ultra end game grinding again, but at the correct level this time. So I've just picked out Siren as the class that I want to use for that. And so now she's at 70, 77, 78. Ooh. So she's getting close. And there's a part of me that wants to do it with one more character, not sure who yet, but just to have options. Because the thing I love most about Borderlands is the whole options thing of, I want to play this class. And so it's nice just having a maxed out character ready to go, because they do play quite differently, which I really enjoy.
Have you done it with Zero yet? Like, I heard you mentioning Gage and Salvador, but I didn't hear if you caught. I didn't catch if you mentioned Zero.
So I have every character except Gage at 72. So even though I had got Salvador to 72, I'd never gunzerk continuously for 90 seconds, which is weird because I didn't have to adjust my build. Like the build was ready to go. I just never tried getting it to 90 seconds. But no, Zero would be the one that I want to do another run to 80 with. Just because he was the first character that I played in Borderlands 2, and he's the character I have played the least recently. Does that make sense? Yeah, of all the characters, I haven't played him the most recently.
And he's such a really cool character. He deserves it.
He is.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. The only problem is, my favorite playstyle for Zero is Assassin close range. It's like the melee pistol build, which works really well until late game. And then you go in and die. Either you kill what you try to assassinate, or you die and you don't get up, because all of your damage is kind of condensed into one sort of packet.
You basically become a glass cannon.
A little, yeah, which is sort of annoying. But yeah, there are some great boar builds, and sniping is really fun, but again, really hard to do solo in ultra late games. So I don't know. I want to try and make Zero work. Yeah, I'll figure out how.
Yeah, both those builds sound like better for multiplayer. So Zero might just be like in that box of he's best when you're in a multiplayer setting, because someone else can take the heat. Yeah,
exactly. And so the last challenge that I had to get, and this is quite funny, is getting every non-level specific achievement, like the badass rank system in Borderlands 2.
I remember fucking that. Yeah, Jesus.
Every non-level specific one to at least level 1. And so I'd actually gotten fairly close. I did this with Axton, the commando, just because he far and away has the most playtime of any character, and I used him to grind because he's very good solo. So I used him to grind a lot of the gear that I had at 72. And so there were a couple of things I had to get left. One of them was being able to come out of Fight for Your Life with the damage over time of shock weapons, which is harder than it sounds to get.
Especially at those higher levels as well.
Yeah, especially at the higher levels. Either you kill things instantly if you play with stuff that's too low level, or they just don't die if you play stuff on too high a level. Like, they just regen faster than you damage them. So that took a little bit of finagling. Ended up doing it with some chain lightning and a Norfleet, which for people that have played Borderlands 2, they'd be like, Jesus Christ, that's overkill. Yes, it was, and I needed it. Other one there were two others. What were the other two? Yes, a shotgun one. Somehow, out of all the time that I've spent playing as Axton, I'd never gotten up close and personal with shotguns as much as I needed to. It's not that it wasn't at level 1, it's that you needed to get it to level 5 to unlock getting kills at long range with shotguns as its own. It was like a dependency thing. But what was really funny was when I finally got the proc to kill things up close with the shotgun to level 5, it instantly filled up the kill shotguns at long range. So clearly it had been counting it. It just wouldn't let me have it until I got the prerequisite. So that was interesting. And then the final one, and this was the dumbest one, slag damage. That was it. Just do additional damage on top of slag. And this is why it was funny. So I needed to get it above level 1, right? That was it. Nothing crazily spectacular. So to do that, I needed to do 5,000 points of slag damage, which shouldn't be that hard. When I checked what my slag damage value was, it was negative 20 billion.
How did you manage to get that?
How does that work?
20 billion? That's a lot.
20 billion. It is. So level 1 slag damage is 5,000, level 5 slag damage is 500,000, and my damage was negative 20 billion.
How did you get into the negatives?
Let me tell you a little story about computer science.
I'm surprised they even let you go into the negatives.
So they don't. This is the thing. So
I think I know what you're going to say, but yeah, continue.
Yeah. So what happens is, this is a very common bug in Borderlands 2. Which is funny because like everyone has this problem of, I'm so close to getting this achievement. This is the last thing I need to get, but it's bugged. Help me fix it. What happens is, in particularly towards the Ultimate Vault Hunter modes, when you go from True Vault Hunter mode to Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, the game tries to balance it by saying that slag now does, I think it's 3 times instead of 2 times. It's so whatever it is in normal and True Vault Hunter mode, if it's 2 times, Ultimate goes to 3. If it's 3 times, Ultimate goes to 4. I forget which of those it is, but it's one of them. In other words, you basically need to use slag to do damage because that's how it's balanced out. But so that's point 1, which means that unless you're going out of your way to do slag damage, you don't really notice it. And when you're playing normal and True Vault Hunter mode, you don't really need the slag because you're either using a slag weapon and they die from the slag weapon, or you don't use the slag weapon and you just kill them with other means. So it's you're not actively thinking about slagging them, swapping weapons, dealing damage with the non-slag weapon to stack up the 5,000 points. So fast forward to Ultimate Vault Hunter mode. Now, with combinations of things like bee shields and other high value, like high damage weapons, you could be doing millions of damage easily, just by virtue of the level that you're at and how much damage you can output with various skills and other bits and pieces. So what happens is, if you do too much damage as additional with slag, so in other words, you've slagged someone up and then you just overkill them, like just absolutely like level 100 Gyarados into a level 2 Pidgey with Hyper Beam type, overkill them. The game will register that you've done so much damage, it will underflow to the maximum negative value.
Okay, yeah. I thought it was going to be something similar.
Yeah, and so it's basically a consequence of how the game is coded to, like, because Ultimate Vault Hunter mode was effectively a DLC. They, when they first made the game, never intended damage values to be that high. So I don't remember if this is confirmed, but this is the sort of, this is what everyone says when you read around it online, that you just do so much damage, you underflow the maximum value that stat can hold, and so it just drops you into the negative. And so the good news is, it only, from when I started trying to do slag damage, took me about an hour is probably too long, less than an hour, but more than probably 20 or 30 minutes. So it wasn't a short amount of time, but it could have been way worse. As a level 72 commando, slagging stuff and then blowing it up only took me sort of an hour to chew through that amount of damage in reverse. And you had to chew it through it in reverse. I had to do 20 billion points of slag damage to fix the bug.
Fuck, that's rough.
It is, but as soon as I got it back into the positives, procced immediately to level 5.
Okay, cool. Fantastic, yeah. But
Because I probably did like 10 million, 20 million something in damage when it went from 0 to the actual level value. So that was quite funny. And it was when that procced that I got the 100% on Steam moment. So yeah, I was quite proud of that, quite happy with that.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah, so that's basically what I've been doing. I have, by virtue of trying to level up my Siren, gone through Campaign of Carnage. Actually, I think all the DLC. I haven't gone through Pirate's Booty again because that's
the worst one.
Yeah. I don't know. Hammerlock is an interesting area, but the story itself isn't that interesting to me.
And always the story always has a bit of a backseat. The Tiny Tina's one, Assault on Dragon Keep, that's the best one by far.
It is. And Torg's Campaign of Carnage, I really enjoy for Torg.
Yes, Torg is the best part of that campaign, and everything else is mid.
Fine.
You know what?
It's
I've never
fine.
actually done the Borderlands 2 DLC. Can you guys give a really brief rundown on what they are? Try to sell me on them because I do want to play Borderlands 2 again.
So the really easy way to describe it is that when you say play Borderlands 2, do you know how Borderlands 3 story DLC works?
I do not.
Okay.
I know next to nothing about Borderlands 3 besides the villains being streamers.
True. We all hate Twitch kids. Yeah. Really, really easy to summarize. There is a story that you will play through in Borderlands games. So they've done this in Borderlands 1, 2, I think pre-sequel, but I haven't played the pre-sequel DLCs to know for sure, and 3. And we're just not going to talk about Tiny Tina's, where they give you the main story, you play through the main story, you're like, yes, this is good main story, thank you. And then they will release usually 4 completely separate, canonical but not part of the original story blocks of things to do. And so this is usually new areas, new enemies, a story which is fairly self-contained, but will use characters in and out of the main story. And more often than not, the purposes of wanting to do these is that they give you a particular boss, and that boss will have specific drops. Or there's some sort of hook that makes you want to play it over and over again. It's really easy to speak to that for Borderlands 2 because they introduced with the story DLCs raid boss enemies, which were specific. There's one in each one that is a specific enemy that gives you drops that you can't get anywhere else. They also introduced a new loot rarity, technically 3 new loot rarities in Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2 was basically just the greatest thing you could do for story DLC. And so once you finish the main story of Borderlands 2, which is still very good and still my favorite Borderlands game and one of my top probably 5-ish, depending on the criteria, games of all time, you have 4 DLC stories to look forward to. One about pirates, and you get a sick new vehicle that you can unfortunately only use in the pirate area, but is a very cool vehicle. A bunch of characters who actually make references in Tales of the Borderlands. Shade, I'm pretty sure, is Tales of the Borderlands. It's actually making me want to go back and play Tales of the Borderlands again, just to really continue the Borderlands stream.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to start. No, I was just saying that after I went back and played Borderlands 3 at the start of the... Sorry, I started playing Borderlands 3 at the start of the year. I definitely felt the need to go back and play Tales from the Borderlands. And just for those playing along at home, Borderlands, Tales from the Borderlands, it doesn't matter, is a Telltale style game where it's like an interactive story. It is not the looter shooter that
you would know and expect.
Is. Yeah, so I knew that going in, but a good friend of mine got that on release and was like, what the fuck, this is literally quick time events the game. And I'm like, it's like, I watched the trailers, it looked cool. I'm like, it didn't show any shooting at all. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Which is kind of it's a weird gaslight moment for me.
Yeah.
I knew it and I love those Tales from the Borderlands games, but the people that like Borderlands games, I don't think would appreciate the Tales from the Borderlands narrative focused quick time event type of story.
Yeah.
But unless you really care about the lore, which I sort of do, sort of don't.
So, and that's what's interesting. So to quickly run through the rest of the Borderlands 2 deal, I'm not going to go through the other games, but so Pirates. The second one is Torg's Campaign of Carnage, which is you meeting one of the best Borderlands characters in the universe, Mr. Torg. Although, canonically, his first name is Mr. Torg.
Yes.
And his last name is Flexington.
Yeah, he's a very big, beefy guy that is always like yelling and swearing to the point where like all of his subtitles are in capitals
and
like,
bleeped.
Yeah, like they bleep out fuck for some reason. And then like, I think I'm not sure if it's from Borderlands 3 because he makes an appearance in Borderlands 3, but he's like, oh, I'm so bleeping angry, they're bleeping out bleep. It's very fucking funny.
Yeah, it is. And so that is an excellent DLC. Sir Hammerlock's Big Game Hunt is a fine DLC. It's memorable for the area because the setting is really cool, but there's not a huge amount of story in there. Like they don't introduce any new character. Well, they introduce like a new character, but I think he's referenced in other games, but basically has no bearing on anything else. Yeah, cool area though. Lots of interesting enemies and things. And then Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon's Keep, which is the entire Dungeons, Bunkers and Badasses, Dungeons and Dragons in-universe ripoff, which they do really well, and then use that as a cap-off to the overall story of Borderlands 2, because there's a big tribute to Roland and Bloodwing and things at the end, and it's really nicely tied together and everything. It's really cool. And then then there's a time gap, and then they hit us with the Fight for Sanctuary DLC, where some time has passed, but Helios Station has been brought down. You meet Vaughn, and so now you're tying in with Tales from the Borderlands, and that sets up why and how you know Vaughn, and why he's on Pandora and not on Helios Station in Borderlands 3, and why there's no Sanctuary, because Sanctuary is destroyed at the end of Fight for the Sanctuary DLC. I realize I just spoiled it all for Steve.
Just before you go, because I'm reading into that DLC now, and I think it's very funny. So don't forget the original, like Borderlands 2 came out in like 2013, like a while ago. Yeah. And then
2012 because it was the beginning of the end for my academic career.
Yeah, because it came out in like November, so it's so good.
But it came out one week into exams.
Yeah, but it's interesting how like they sort of remastered Borderlands 2 for the Xbox One, PS4 generation, and then they knew Borderlands 3 was coming out in 2019. They're like, you know what, Borderlands 2 DLC that ties the story together, and it's very, very interesting and unique that they've done that. Like 6 years later, here's some DLC.
And so not only that, they did that, they introduced a new rarity of loot, and they gave us another invincible, and they also there was some other component of that as well. Basically, it's not just, hey, go buy the next game. It's no, this is the same as the other DLCs, like story DLC. It's just surprise dropped. Play this and then play Borderlands 3, and worked on me. I was hooked. Final thing I'll say. Running back, going through all of the side missions of the various DLCs. God, the writing in Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon's Keep is just top quality. Yeah, every side quest is so good. Special shout out to Mr. Torg, who tells you to blow up one of the blimps that was used to scout for danger, and you do it, and then it just becomes story point after story point when you're playing through the campaign. Anyway, so he's in the village stockade. He was banished to Horny Jail. One of the side quests you get from him is he really wants to join people playing. He really wants to join the kind of geek group. He wants to associate with geek culture, and Lilith wants to kind of gatekeep geek culture away from Mr. Torg. Talk about how he's just another buff, muscly guy. I suffered for my geekiness. You can't just you can't just come in here and have it so easy. And it's really funny because he has the big. He's always doing the big shouty like sort of delivery, but it's him like whining and crying about how he just wants to be associated with geek culture, and he finds all this stuff really interesting, and he just wants to like be included in other stuff. But the bit that because I've played this DLC countless times, but there's just something about leaving it for a while, coming back, seeing that quest. And I don't remember what the name of the quest is, but the subtitle for the quest is Men Belong in the Gym. And I think about that and I just chuckle. Just every like few minutes when I was playing through that quest of just, man, this came out in like 2013 for that DLC. And it holds up. The whole thing just holds up. It's been 10 years and it's still like, I'd recommend anyone that hasn't played Borderlands 2 to go and play it. Even if you didn't like Borderlands 3, more reason to play it, because that was when they nailed the formula. Anyway, relinquishing my time, because this is already longer than what I wanted to speak about. But yeah, in the midst of all the other shit that's come out from various game studios and other just disarray gaming 2023, man, you look back to the real kind of high points of
the good old days of 2012.
Pretty much, like back when the Mayans thought the world was ending, and now we think the world is ending. But yeah, no, even harkening back to the nostalgia episode of Saif and I, like I'd consider those years formative years in my kind of gaming life. And so many of the games that I hold near and dear to my heart are games that came out around that time. And it's really cool that going back and playing a game that is 10 years old and having the same feeling. Because I've played games that are that age or older, but haven't held up. And you're like, oh, this was great. But like, you sort of had to be not there at the right time. But like Life is Strange, for example, because we talked about that. That was 2014. And now, it's probably fine, but I don't know if I'd recommend it as highly as I would have done in 2014 to someone, if you sort of get what I mean.
I think I get what you mean. But
yeah.
You're right, Borderlands 2 is a fucking amazing game.
Yeah, Borderlands 2, absolutely amazing.
Now that you've said that, I think it's probably, if not in my top 5, my top 10 game. It is definitely probably my first person shooter game, just like how it feels and how it controls.
Yeah. And I do miss from Borderlands 3 all the extra little parkour and quality of life that they gave it, like being able to kind of climb up ledges and stuff. I do miss that, and not being able to slide has bit me a little bit. But I don't know. I've played quite a lot of Borderlands 2. After the first sort of hour, it was like, oh yeah, I can't do that, and I never tried after that point. It'd be nice if I could, sure, but I don't miss it.
It's been such a long time since I've played the Borderlands games that I'm not actually quite sure if I like 1 or 2 better. There's just something about 1 that sticks in my memory more than 2 did. And not to detract from 2. 2's an excellent game. It's just, I think I'm more nostalgic for 1 because I played more playthroughs of that game than I did 2.
And that's fair. 1, I think, definitely has its place, but I think 1 didn't really find its niche. Because my memories of 1 was that it was focused much more on the kind of post-apocalyptic adventure survival-y type angle to it. And it really found its feet tone-wise in Borderlands 2. So there are parts of Borderlands 1 that I really liked. I sort of missed the weapon proficiency system that they introduced, and the Iridian weapons were just bonkers, as well as just randomly finding a gun that would just literally give you ammo regeneration. Even if you didn't like the gun, you just got it to save money on ammo. So a lot of things they really did well in Borderlands 1, but Borderlands 2 it's like Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 2. It was a fairly revolutionary style of game when it came out, and it should be lauded for the technical, I guess, feat that was bringing it to the world when nothing like it existed previously. But the second iteration was when they absolutely smashed like just the vision of what the first game could have been. Yeah,
it's a perfect building block. Like Borderlands 1 was like, okay, it was sort of like didn't really. It was a bit different with the whole like thousands of guns it could drop, and they're all procedurally generated type of thing. But then Borderlands 2 took it a little bit further and combined it all and made it genuinely fun to play.
Yeah.
And this is exactly why I want to do a replay of Borderlands 2, because I know in my heart that it's a really great game, but also in my heart, I'm just kind of more nostalgic for 1, and I want to revisit both of them just to have a more recent playthrough and comparison of the 2 games.
Also, shout out to there was a point that I was going to make. Fuck, I've lost it. No, I think it is gone. Yeah, one thing that I will say, Borderlands 1, in terms of the tone, admittedly I was younger when I played Borderlands 1 than when I played Borderlands 2. Only, a couple of years or so, but because the tone wasn't that clear, it was like, do I really want to go into this next area? Because I don't know if what I'll be doing will be that, like, it was kind of like, how do I describe this? Going into a new area in Borderlands 2 is great because the tone tells you it's going to be quite quippy and lighthearted and fun, and all of the things that give you signs to the contrary of like people on spikes and other kind of fairly visceral things don't detract from the tone that you know and can expect. But Borderlands 1 was interesting because they had the same visceral images. Like I don't remember who it was, but going up to one of the boss fights and it's just bodies everywhere. And it's like, I don't know if I particularly enjoy what this game's going for, because it was quite like brutal, really, and the writing was dry, but it wasn't that light-hearted, I'd say, because it was much more of a hard game. So yeah, it's interesting. The tone really adjusted how I wanted to play Borderlands 1 compared to 2.
Yeah, it gets a bit more silly in 2 as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then as soon as the finished Borderlands 1, went, actually this game is amazing, played it a bunch more times, and then saw the Awimoe trailer with Claptrap.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, this is it. I'm getting this. I got me, a bunch of friends together. We all pitched in for the 4-pack of licenses. Remember when they used to do that on Steam?
Not really.
Did they actually stop that?
I haven't seen it for a while, but I also haven't tried to find it for a while.
I'm sure there's still games that do that, but it's less frequent now because there's less frequent games coming out that are 4-player co-op shooters or co-op games in general. It's
true, but yeah, got a bunch of friends together, all picked a class we wanted, away we went, never looked back. We've been speaking about Borderlands for a lot longer than I expected. Obviously, I could continue speaking about this for ages, but
fantastic game, but
10 out of 10. 10, that's right, 10 out of 10.
Whoa, is that one of the first 10s we've given?
Wait.
Maybe.
Saif, what did you give Stranger in Paradise?
Maybe a 9, I think. I'd need to go back. I'm not sure if I gave it a 9 or a 10.
If any super fans at home want to catalogue all the reviews that we've given for games.
By the way,
I catalogue all of my games and their scores. Don't you fellas do it?
No. I'm too busy playing them.
I did, but my Twitter account got suspended, so I don't have that anymore.
Why are you cataloguing them on Twitter?
Because I was making a media thread and cataloguing movies as well.
How'd you watch those movies? How'd you play those games, I guess? Yeah, okay. Borderlands 2, fantastic games. On the Switch, if people want to get it on the Switch as well.
I just want to quickly add for the 4-pack thing. They still have it for Borderlands 2, but it doesn't update its price with sales like the single license does or the Game of the Year license does. So at the moment, for the next 6.5 hours, you can buy Borderlands 2 for $6.50, the Game of the Year edition for $10.40, or you can get a 4-pack for $77.85.
Jesus.
That's so good. Games. You have Borderlands 2, Saif?
I think I have it on PS5 and not Steam.
I will buy it for you on Steam right now.
I mean, I can do it myself, but I've got it on PS5. I was going to play it there.
No crossplay, though.
Yeah, I know. That's the one shitty part.
And the good news is the save editors are good enough that you can transfer. I think you can even transfer across platforms, because I've definitely transferred saves to and from PS3 where I had Borderlands 2. I have it on so many platforms. I have it on fucking Vita as well.
So I'm good, fellas.
Yeah, I forgot
Queensland just scored.
on
I don't
Vita.
talk about Borderlands anymore. Queensland just scored. We're gonna start crying now. Okay. It was a good try. I'll give it to him. But
I remembered the two other things. I remember the two other points that I forgot earlier. Fight for Sanctuary also introduced the ability to create a level 30 character rather than a level 1 to get into it faster, which I thought was a really nice touch. And somehow there has been a patch for Borderlands 2. I don't know what it did or what it introduced, but it means that on Steam for Windows, your version will be 2.0 point something. But if you want to play on Mac, where it runs really fucking well on my Mac, it's 1.8.5. And on Linux, ProtonDB, I'm assuming for Steam Deck, 1.8.4. So you actually have to downgrade the Windows version in order to play with other platforms. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting because it's like... Yeah, because it's just like, well, what the fuck would have changed? It's not like there's a balance update or anything, but for some reason, Aspir and whoever manages the Linux one decided, no, let's just not run that patch. And so my dumbass Googling, why can't I play with my friend? We're both on Steam. Anyway, now I'm done with Borderlands 2. Still a 10 out of 10 game. Go and play it. Especially buy it if it's on sale for the next 6.5 hours. So you can just knock this together and get this up in like an hour, right? Take that as a yes.
Silence is deafening.
Silence is deafening. Cool. Well,
probably upset that Queensland scored.
I guess throwing back to you again, Steve. Wrestling chat now, wrestling chat later.
I don't know. Wrestling chat later. I just want to.
He's going to keep pushing it back as long as possible.
All right, hit us with the Persona stuff, and ideally don't make it go for 30 minutes. I'm so sorry. It fucking happens anytime I'm passionate about something.
Yeah, no, love to see the passion. Hate that you'll yell at us for the podcast recording going late. Classic.
It happens every week.
So, Saif, if you could just make an editor's note. I think at one stage Steve said he was worried the editor was going to king hit him. If you could just add like the editor and the host to king hit Steve, that'd be great.
I'll just insert clips of both of us king hitting him.
Clips even.
Clips. like taking turns or like power up punch, like Power Ranger at the same time punch.
It'd be a combination of both. We're going to show up at the same time and king hit him at the same time. Then we're going to do it one at a time and like in a tag team style. Like you'll hit him, then you'll tag me in to hit him, and then I'll tag you back and you do it again. And
then one of us like DDTs the ref, and then we just continue beating on him.
Yeah,
but the ref in this case is like a cop.
We just need a steel chair and we're all good to go.
And Vince McMahon.
I'd prefer not having Vince McMahon there. He's a shit booker.
Imagine he gives us new lines while we're king hitting Steve.
He'll somehow turn the match to go from us beating Steven to Steven somehow getting the win.
Oh, we can't have that. Anyway, so Persona 3
Portable. Oh, where do I even start with this game?
Sorry, how portable is it?
Very portable, actually. It depends on how you want to play it. So, have you played this game, Pat?
No. Persona 4, one of the Persona 4s, either Golden or whatever one, everyone, or maybe it's 5, fuck, I don't know. Everyone says they are fantastic games and I should play them.
Let me guess, was it on the Vita?
No, I haven't played it. I'm saying I've been told repeatedly to play
one of 4 I thought you were saying you played one of them.
No, I haven't played any of them. It's the sort of game
Fuck, they got another try. What is going on? Fucking put me in, coach. Holy shit.
I vaguely understand how the game works, and I think it is the sort of game that I'd find enjoyable, but everyone says, oh, it really gets good after about 50 hours. And I'm like, I just don't have that kind of time.
So you're insane. It's only 5 hours.
5 hours, you fucking said. You can't do anything for 5 hours.
Bro, anyway. I get into Borderlands, I'm in within like an hour.
Yeah, it takes 5 hours for you to get control of your character and you like it.
It does take a little bit. Okay, so anyway, Persona 3 Portable. Oh, so Persona 3 came out for the PlayStation 2 at like 2004, 2003, Seth?
2006.
Is that fucking... Jesus Christ.
Persona 4 came out in 2008. Persona 3 was around the time the PS3 launched, I think, or like a couple months beforehand.
Something ridiculous, yeah.
Yeah, and Persona 4 was after the PS3 was already out.
Yeah, for a while as well, which is, I didn't realize it was that late. But anyway, yeah. So Persona Portable is a port to the PSP, I believe.
You are correct. Yeah. It's the PSP.
It would have been if it's portable.
Yeah, as opposed to the Vita. So now this game was ported in 2009. It is a very different Persona game. So Persona games in general, I remember shilling Persona 4 probably 12 months ago now. I'm actually probably close to 18 because I went through and played that. And they're very narrative heavy JRPGs. There are essentially 2 parts to the game. There are the story aspects and social links and relationship building with your friends and random strangers you meet on the street. And then there are the dungeon crawling parts of the game where it's combat and you're up against shadows and you're fusing personas to get like better personas. And a persona is essentially the manifestation of psychic powers. Very, very similar to Stan's in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, to make that a reference. And Persona, and half of this is very predicated on the fact that I played Persona 4 first. I played Persona 4 in 2016. I emulated it. Oh no, I'm getting killed by Jim Ryan. And then I played Persona 5 on release like a year later when that came out. And I loved both those games. They're both fantastic. Both great story, great cast of characters. The combat of the dungeon crawling is very cool. And the social links themselves and the writing is fantastic. And the voice acting is fantastic as well. Because I'm playing this with the English dub and it is very good. There's like a lot of in Persona 3 as well, but 4 and 5 also have just very good voice acting.
Yeah, the only thing that I don't like about Persona 5 specifically, and this is like a nitpick, is that they don't pick how they want to pronounce Takamaki and Sakamoto. No. It's not that they can't pick for Sakamoto. It's that they've said it wrong. They're going Sakamoto instead of Sakamoto. And
depending on which character says it, it's said fucking differently.
And Takamaki is said multiple different ways throughout the game. But that's like a nitpick. Like voice performance wise, they're all fantastic.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I didn't want to get this into a Persona 4, Persona 5 chat. So, and Persona 3, it is, you can tell what they're doing. You can tell what they're cooking. I don't think, it is a very good game, but I think the quality of life changes that 4 and 5 make pretty much leave this game in the dust. Like I don't think the story is that good as well. It doesn't seem to be, it seems to, there's no real sense of progression. Like 4 and 5, there are bad things happening. You have to solve the problem. With 3, it's like, oh, hey, there's another full moon. There's another enemy to beat. I guess we should do that. Like there's no just sort of sense of a broader world. There's like a bunch of unknowns. Like there is this massive dungeon, or dungeon's probably a weird word for it, but a massive tower called Tartarus. And you've got to sort of climb Tartarus to sort of one part train your character, one part to find missing people that have walked in, and one part to sort of just solve the mystery of Tartarus and the mystery of the dark hour, which is at 12 o'clock every night. There's an extra hour and only Persona users can sort of be awake and conscious in that time, and everybody else goes into coffins for whatever reason.
So I'm sorry, Stephen, you said this at the beginning of the section, and I'm gonna have to be that guy. Persona 3 is a 80-hour RPG, and the story gets really fucking good at like the 45-50 hour mark.
Yeah. Okay. So another, I wasn't going to talk about this because I think it might have hampered my experience, but I have seen the
movies?
Yeah, I've seen the movies. I saw the movies about 12 months ago. I finished Persona 4 and I'm like, oh, I want to watch the movies. And there's 6 movies, I believe. And those movies are fantastically paced.
4 movies, one for each season, I think. Okay.
And those 4 movies are very good. They're very well paced. And they sort of tell the story without all the fluff. I get the feeling I played for about that 30 hours. And I get the feeling that it's like this first part is all fluff. And I know what's coming. And I'm like, this should hurry up. And it's just like a bunch of just comments and things that are alluding to what's going to happen later. I'm like, oh, we're not there yet. It'll still take time.
Yeah, so I can see that being a pace runner because it's all slow build up throughout the game and there's things happening and characters getting introduced. Not the same way that Persona 4 and 5 do them, but like things are slowly unraveling as you're going up Tartarus and taking out each of the Arcana.
The tarot bosses.
Yeah.
The Arcana, yeah, that's it.
But just going through the movie first and knowing what's coming, that's going to put like a big damper on. I know where this is going. I want to get there already sort of feeling.
Yeah, and I get the feeling that these are all me problems. Like I've played the sequels to this game and the sequels do what this does a lot better. I've watched the movies. The movies tell the story a lot better. So I'm in this weird world where it's like, I'm still having a good time, but I'm just nitpicking a lot of things.
I feel like at this point, the most you're going to get out of playing Persona 3 is all the social link stuff that they don't 100% cover in the movies.
Yeah, and that I sort of is so just for those listening at home and for you, Pat, these social links
well, I am listening at home.
Yep. Fuck, you got me. I don't know what to say to that. Yes, you are.
Yeah, yes, I am.
Yeah. So these social links are literally Persona 3 like works in a day format. Like Monday you'll go to school and you've got like an afternoon session where you can hang out with somebody or do something. And then you've got like a night session where you can do something like explore Tartarus or you can hang out with someone else and build that social link. And the things you can do include like doing homework, studying at the library, because you are like a school person, like a school kid, 15 years old, and you sort of made it like you've come to this school and then sort of you're trying to fit in because you're a new boy and just look like a fucking emo dweeb. You wouldn't survive these days. But it feels like it just feels like long. Like it doesn't, like with Persona 4, and once again, I'm comparing it to Persona 4, which I think is completely unfair. So actually, you know what? I'm not going to make that comparison because it's completely unfair. But it just pads out what you've got to do in those day-to-day sections. It's like there's no, like it's pretty much like once a month, there'll be like a big cutscene where you've got to verse like one of the big bosses, one of the Arcanas. And then pretty much between that, you've got a month to do whatever you want. And then it's sort of, you get to, by the time you finish that month, it's like, okay, I'm done. like I'm not burnt out, but I'm just sort of sick of it. Like I want some other interactions outside of like the norm and getting into the routine of what you're doing. Like, okay, I know Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to work at the cafe to raise my courage and get some money in the nighttime. And then on Thursday and Friday, I'm going to go to the club. For some reason, they let minors in and hang out with this alcoholic priest or alcoholic monk or whatever. And I thought you just get into the routine of that. And it doesn't not punish you for doing that, but it just tells you you've got to keep doing that. Like, I'm not really sure if that's the point the game's trying to make, but it's just not fun and it's not new. And then you do fill up a social link and it's like, well, I can't do that anymore. I have to find something else. All right. Yes, they put a try down up the... Actually, did they? Maybe not. Oh, no, it's held up. The fucking dogs.
Yeah, so this is like the first time that they went and did this because before Persona 3, Persona 1 and 2 were very different games. And Persona 3 was...
different games.
Yeah, and Persona 3 was like this harsh reboot of what you do in the games. So this is kind of like the building stones of what it will become. And I agree, Persona 4 does a lot to improve on the formula. But I do think that Persona 3 does have its place. I do think that the social links in this game are the strongest of the social links that are in the rest of the series. Like for minor characters, not for party members, because
you don't really get party member ones. Well, not that I'm up to that.
Yeah, no, you don't get them for a long time. They're basically New Game Plus logs.
New Game Plus.
Like you need your social stats that high that they might as well be New Game Plus. Like I think to start the Mitsuru one, you need to ace.
You have to be genius.
Yeah, you have to be a genius and you have to be the top of your class for one of the exams.
Fucking hell, you fucking do that.
So she's got like 2 barriers before you can even start hers. But for all the other minor characters, you know, besides Moon, the fat kid, that his whole problem is that he keeps eating. Besides him, all of them are really good and really strong.
He's the funniest character.
I fucking hated him.
Yeah, and I like you join the sports team. There's that runner, and he can't run anymore because he's like fucked his leg or something. But it's like, no, I got to keep running because I promised my cousin dying of cancer that I'll win. It's like, okay, like
yeah. What I don't like about the social links, and I don't know if you share this same thought as me, but I don't like that when you get to their pivotal moments, you have to give them the worst advice in the world to progress them and get the maximum points out of them. Like there's this one where you're helping this little girl and she's having a rough time at home and she's just like...
parents are getting divorced. Yeah, it's her fault.
And she thinks it's her fault, and basically to get the maximum points, like social link points out of her, you have to tell her to run away from home. Like, there's a couple of other options, like, to go back, try to sort it out, blah, blah, blah. But the best result option for her is tell her to run away. And all of them are like that. Like the runner, your first instinct is to tell him, like, look, calm down, go get your leg fixed. But the best result for him is just push through the pain, keep running. Even if you break your leg, it'll be worth it.
Yeah. Well, so I think that's just more, I sort of agree with that and I sort of don't. I think it's more because of you're not telling them bad advice. You're telling them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And that's like in a real life conversation, telling someone that they don't want to hear something. You're like your best friend in your entire world that you've known for like 20 years. You're not going to go up to them and be like, man, you stink, have a shower. Like they don't want to hear that. Regardless. Maybe you would, but you'd still hurt their feelings. I was
going to say, that's an interesting example to bring up, but...
yeah. Pat, by the way, can I talk to you real quick?
Can smell you from across the pond, mate.
Steve, your mistake there was thinking that we were friends.
Yeah, all right, take a shower.
I hope whichever team you support instead of Origin loses.
Yeah, that's not funny at all. I think the Blues just got to try. Hang on, does he put the ball down? I don't know. There might be an arm on the way.
Something that isn't in the later games, but I think is interesting, is actually the opportunity to rank down your social links. Like if you give them like...
That doesn't happen. That doesn't exist in Persona 3 Portable.
Oh, did they remove it for Portable? Okay.
Which thank God, because depending on if I get bored of a character, I'm not talking to you for like a month. And then from my understanding is that they decay and you lose ranks. I'm not talking to them again. Get fucked.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting mechanic that for the one game works, but I'm glad that as a quality of life improvement, they removed it later on.
Yeah. But so anyway, so what Persona 3 Portable does is it because from my understanding, in Persona 4 and 5, you're in like the world, and I'm assuming Persona 3 is like the same. Like you're like 3D modeled, and you're walking down 3D like a 3D wall like world, and you've got corridors and stuff. Persona 3 Portal, because it was on the PSP, took out the world exploration. It is literally like you're giving a map, and there's a bunch of like models on that map, and if you want to talk to someone, you're just put the cursor over it and you're talking to them, and that loses the soul of it so much. And maybe that's why I'm not really digging the game. Like there is 3D exploration of Tartarus for the combat and all that, but that you lose the sense of soul in the world, and that's what really I think that's just why I'm not engaging with that game as much as I did for 4 and 5. Like the music is pretty good. It's not as good as 4 or 5, but it's still like pretty fantastic.
Oh, come on. Baby, 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 baby at the start of every battle track is amazing.
It is very amazing for the first couple of hours, and the grind that is Tartarus makes me fucking sick of it. Not a fan of it anymore.
But yeah, a big appeal of Persona is just running around and being part of these areas of Japan. So yeah, I can see why just making it a map that you just click and point adventure through would lose some of that appeal.
Yeah, and I get the feeling I'm coming off very negative with this game, but it is quite good. Like the combat, the turn-based combat is pretty good. It is a bit simple. It's just for the normal characters, like normal enemies. It's pretty much just like their weakness, use the thing against it, and then that's pretty much it. Like the bosses are complex because you don't really know what they're weak against until you analyze them, and so figuring that out is like an interesting type of puzzle.
Yeah, I think some Arcana bosses are actually treated like puzzles as well. Like there's certain mechanics that only exist in those Arcana bosses, which is interesting because I don't think those really existed again until Persona 5 had some moments of like, yeah, quickly send out this party member to go do something. You'll lose that character for a couple of turns, but it'll give you a big advantage in the boss fights if you do it.
Yeah, and there's another thing that Persona 3 Portable introduces is you can select a female character as opposed from the default male character. The female character isn't just like a swap, like it's got different social links. It's roughly the same story, but it is like different enough to warrant a second playthrough. So I'm sort of thinking about if I will go back and do another playthrough. But yeah, I'm sort of on the fence about it. And keep in mind, I think I'm only like 35 hours into this game, so I'm not even halfway yet. These games are fucking massive. And there is a lot of dialogue in this game, to the point like when I've got my dinner and I'm sitting down, I'm not going to put it on YouTube. I'm going to put on Persona 3 and just fuck around with the dialogue.
Actually just play it while eating.
Yeah, like you put on like the auto cue for the text. It goes like semi-fast, and there we go. I don't hate it, like, because the story and the social links are pretty good and interesting to sort of read or listen to.
Do you need to have like Family Guy funny moments on another screen or something? Or
so I've got the TV with Persona 3. On my phone, I've got Jetpack Joyride. And on the laptop, in my right hand side, I've
Subway
got
Surfers.
No, I've got Family Guy. Try not to laugh challenge, hashtag impossible.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so this game is very good. I'll tell it that. But this game is not for everybody. I'll say that. If you like JRPGs, if you like story-focused sort of narratives that sort of take a lot of time to get into, and then sort of once you get used to everything, it's very nice. The 2023 port did do a bit of AI upscaling of a couple of background areas, and they're not really nice. Some areas it looks really blurry, so you can tell they've just like dragged and dropped it. Sorry, not dragged and dropped it. They've used just like the expand tool.
They left it at the first pass.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they didn't like. Yeah, cool. There you go. I looked at it. It looks similar. All the best.
Like how San Andreas has those truck nuts things, the donut nuts, and instead of having hexagon nuts, it just rounded it off because AI didn't know that it was supposed to be a hexagon nut.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm still loving this game. I'd probably give it a 7 though.
A 7?
Yeah. But at the same time, I know my perception is warped because I played 4 and 5 and they're much better games. If I had played this, and because of the what they've done with Portable, they've made it a map overview. Instead, like it loses the soul, and I don't really think I appreciate it that much. But if I had played this game first, I might have a different opinion, but fortunately I don't. Like if I'm assessing it by what I know now, and it is a very long game. If you don't have a lot of time, play Persona 5 instead. Even Persona 4, yeah. Hard to recommend this game.
Even with the debuff of this being a portable version, you also came into this game with the debuffs of knowing the story beforehand because you've seen the movies and playing Persona 4 and 5 beforehand, which just have a shit ton of general quality of life improvements over Persona 3. So I can see why this would be rough. But even then, a 7 is a good score with all those debuffs, I find.
Yeah, no, it is still a fantastic game. And the core of what Persona is, half dungeon crawling, half story, social links type of thing, it's still there and it's still good and fun to play. It's just, it's hard to recommend this game when there is Persona 4 and Persona 5. Or if you go and tell someone, oh yeah, start with Persona 3, then 4, then 5. That is 300 hours in those 3 games. Like, you'll get burnt out because the formula is pretty much the same. The stories are different.
Yeah, no, I play I went through a Persona game like every couple of years instead of like back to backing them. Like, even playing Persona 3 FES, there's the whole extra story that's another... Yeah, the answer, which is apparently another 100 hours on top of Persona 3. And I still haven't gone back to go to that. Yeah, it's a whole
200-hour game.
Giant dungeon crawler.
I thought it was like just a fucking staple couple hours.
I thought it was going to be 20 hours at most when I was starting up Persona 3. So when I was told it's 100 hours, it's like, yeah, no, that's going to go onto the back burner. And I played Persona 3 2 years ago, and I still haven't gone back to do that.
Yeah, well, there are rumors that a Persona 3 remake is in the works, and maybe my opinion will change when saying that. There's a lot of potential to make that very cool, but...
Right, but then the thing is with that, right? Do they do the Blinding Diamond Shining Pearl remake of, oh yeah, no, all those quality of life upgrades, like Infinite TMs, gone. We're making it true to the original.
They can't. Like, the game is dated enough that they won't get a new audience doing this. They'll get the old audience. I mean, a portion of the old audience.
Persona 3, 2006. When was Diamond and Pearl? That would have been 2000.
Unfair comparison. Pokemon people are brainwashed, and the people that want. I was calling for a Gen 4 remake, and nothing reminds you that Gen 4 was bad as actually playing with it. With Rose Tinted Goggles, it's fine. But I think if they...
That's so true, actually. It's so sad, but it's so true.
Yeah, I used to say Gen 4 was my favorite, and now I've replayed it. I'm like, yeah, maybe not. But you needed the quality of life changes from Platinum at the very least, regardless of like what happens in Gen 5, 6, and 7. They did not put the quality of life changes from the better version of it in, and it's just frustrating to play. Yeah, it's rose tinted glasses. They'd have to do the quality of life changes in this one to capture a new audience, or to at least capture the majority of people that want to play Persona 3 again, because it is a big time investment. But enough. 7 out of 10. Back to the footy.
7 out of 10. Well, speaking of 7 out of 10s, Saif, do you want to talk about wrestling?
Am I allowed to talk about wrestling now?
Yeah, sure. I'm just going to do a couple of honks and shoes.
You do that. You get your nap. You deserved it.
Thanks, King. You drop this and it's like a pillow.
No, it's a wrestling belt. Come on.
Oh,
he's going to use it to hang himself.
It's a pillow in the shape of a wrestling belt.
Also, state of origin update. That's not looking good, fellas. 10-0 Queensland's way.
Yeah, I told you it. It's never coming to New South Wales.
It's never
don't you guys have to rename that part of the country? Like, we don't have a queen anymore.
It's going to be Kingsland for the next few years.
Next few years, it'll be for a while.
No. I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now. We're bringing back royal assassinations for the crown.
I was going to say, you had it here first. Seth is saying it's only called Kingsland until May 23rd, 2024.
You know what? There's so much rain in New Zealand. Shouldn't be called New Zeal wet. The Blues got to try it. The Blues just got to try. So my joke is directly responsible for that.
AEW this past weekend had one of their pay-per-view events called Double or Nothing. So AEW does a smart thing where they only have a pay-per-view once every quarter, unlike WWE, who has one every month. Yeah, so this was these are always like...
AEW hate money? Why not once a month?
Probably because having them once every quarter makes them a bigger deal, draws in more people, and it lets their weekly shows do a lot more. So, tangent onto WWE for a moment. all of the storylines that since WrestleMania have been spinning their wheels until this past weekend when they had Night of Champions happen. And I'm not going to talk about that one because that's one of their monthly ones, not one of their big events. But a lot of storylines for the past 2 months have just been spinning their wheels and going nowhere until that event happened. So AEW, they go, well, we have a pay-per-view once every quarter, so we need to make sure our weekly shows are delivering pay-per-view quality matches and interest to keep the crowd interested in our show. And that works out really well for them. I'm glad that they do that. It makes watching them weekly a lot more exciting than watching WWE weekly.
I don't know, man. 0.1 compared to 0 is still, it's hardly a 10.
It's more like half a star versus 5 stars every week. But yeah, to catch people up that haven't heard us talk about AEW stuff before, AEW stands for All Elite Wrestling, and they're the main competition against WWE as the big heavyweight wrestling promotion in the US.
Cool, so now that they're all caught up.
Yeah, so this card had 11 matches on it. Don't worry, I won't talk about all 11 of them. I'm only going to talk about 3 of them.
Oh, good, because I was worried you'd pull out a tier list.
No, don't worry about that. The 3 big matches I want to talk about are Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho in an unsanctioned match, MJF versus Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin and Jungle Boy Jack Perry in a fatal 4-way match for the AEW World Championship, and the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite in an Anarchy in the Arena match. 2 of these matches aren't really wrestling matches. They're just watching people lay waste into each other for about half an hour for shits and giggles.
That's funny. That's what people come and listen to us for.
You're not wrong. There's so many times I get interrupted and it feels like a steel chair to the head. Yeah, so first up, Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho. This was an unsanctioned match, which means, like, in kayfabe, which is wrestling story, there's no rules and AEW won't be held accountable for whatever happens in that match. If someone loses an arm, that's on them. So naturally, you would assume that this means that the match would keep going until one person is pinned or submits. Instead, the match ended because of a referee saying that Chris Jericho was unable to fight back against Adam Cole, and that deflated the crowd for the entire night because the match was great. It had a lot of people excited going into it, a lot of people excited watching the match. There's a lot of really good spots that were happening, and that finish just deflated everyone for the next hour and a half-ish, because this was a 4-hour event, and this was pretty early into the night. So a lot of the matches later in the card just kind of had really bad audience feedback because of how much people were annoyed by this.
Right, yeah.
And yeah, it had a bunch of fun spots, like both guys ended up spraying each other with a fire extinguisher at different points in the match. Like Chris Jericho had Adam Cole in his Walls of Jericho submission hold, and when he looks back, Adam Cole was pointing the fire extinguisher at his face and sprayed it all over him to get the submission hold taken off him.
Okay. Was it the same fire extinguisher used by both?
Yeah, it was the same fire extinguisher used by both. So, like, Adam Cole let go of it at some point, Chris Jericho picked it up later on in the match and sprayed him as payback. Like I said, this is just stupid, goofy shit happening this match. It's not a real wrestling match. This is just watching people do stupid shit for the sake of watching people do stupid shit. At some point, Britt Baker, which is Adam Cole's wife, comes into the match and starts beating up Chris Jericho with a bamboo stick, because I actually don't remember what was happening at this point. But, oh, right. So on one of the weekly shows, Chris Jericho handcuffed Adam Cole to the ring ropes so that he couldn't, like, get out of the corner. And then he called down this group of female stars to beat up Britt Baker in the middle of the ring and make Adam Cole watch and not be able to do anything. So this was kind of her payback moment to come into the ring and beat up on Chris Jericho while no one was around to defend him.
Isn't this cuck porn?
Yes, Steve, it's exactly like cuck porn.
Kind of, I guess. So this match ended with Adam Cole winning, but not in the way he wanted. Chris Jericho being pissed because it was stopped by referee stoppage and not, like, a proper way. So backstage, he demanded a tag team match where he calls in one of the girls that helped him beat up Britt Baker a couple of weeks ago to go against Adam Cole and Britt Baker at one of the weekly shows that's going to be coming up soon. And then, out of nowhere, because I've missed this at some point, he throws a fireball in the face of the person interviewing him because I don't know when it happened, but Chris Jericho is claiming he's a wizard now and is just throwing fireballs in people's faces. Wrestling is fucking stupid, and I love it.
Sorry, hang on, sorry. I must have zoned out for a second with my honking shoes. A fireball, I didn't realize this was Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, no, he's a self-proclaimed wizard and throwing fireballs at people because...
What do these fireballs look like? Are they just him going, fireball?
Basically, like
smoke bomb.
He's off camera. He ignites something, and it's just like a flash of fire going in front of the person's face. Yeah. So next up, there's this there's the Four Pillars AEW Championship match, which I said before against Jack Perry, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and MJF. This is a big match for these four guys because they're all young, up and coming stars, and for the past 2-3 months, they've all been booked as like the future face of the company. They're all going to be massive stars no matter what. Any one of them could be the champion and they'd all deserve it. This is just like their push to stardom moment, like prove yourself match. So MJF is coming into this match as the only heel, which is the bad guy in wrestling terms.
Thank you for that.
He is working his ass off to make this this entire match work. Like he has to bounce off 3 other guys and prop them up while making himself look like the biggest dickhead in the world. And he's doing it really well. He's doing a fantastic job doing what he needs to do. Something lighter though, and this will play into the match. During everyone's entrances, Sammy came out with his wife with some cue cards to announce that they're going to be having a baby. It was a cute moment. The crowd goes ballistic. It's a really big feel-good moment. So MJF, being the bad guy, at some point pretty early in the match, Darby Allin and Jack Perry are outside the ring, kind of knocked out a little bit, and him and Sammy are in the middle of the ring. So MJF grabs a microphone, and he's like, hey, listen, you got a baby on the way. Think about it. Just let me win. I'll give you a cut of the profits. You can help your baby that way. And all bygones be bygones. Just let me take the win. So
wait, so this is being this is being aired out on like national TV, or like
international TV even.
But like TV, to like it's not like an interview afterhand or something.
Yeah,
like
this is all happening live in the wrestling ring.
Crazy, man, yeah. That's fucking crazy.
So Sammy agrees. He's like, fine, I'll lay down. I'll let you take the win. And as MJF goes to take the pin, he gets him into like playing possum roll up and tries to take the win for himself. And that just kind of pushes the match longer too, because MJF obviously kicks out of that, and it just pushes the match to keep going.
Mm.
But this is where I get into more like match theory, I guess is what I want to call it. So usually with Fatal 4-Way matches, they're like even triple threat matches, they're pretty messy matches because you've got so many people you have to keep track of. Yeah. For big chunks of the matches, 1 or 2 people are going to be outside of the ring while the other 2 people carry the in-ring action. And that's like, in WWE, it makes things like really obvious, like, oh, hey, this guy's been out of the ring for like 5 to 10 minutes. He's probably going to come in for a big spot and like steal the win from underneath these other 2 guys. And yeah, like 90% of WWE's multi-man matches ends that way. These guys, they went the opposite direction. For 90% of the match, they were using all 4 guys in every spot, just making sure things were working. Like they'd be taking turns diving out of the ring at each other. And 2 of my favorite spots were submission hold spots. Sammy gets MJF in like a Boston Crab, which is where the person getting submitted is on their stomach while the other person is on their back, like wrenching their legs towards their waist. And Darby Allin and Jack Perry come into the ring, and Darby Allin gets Jack Perry into a sharpshooter, which is kind of similar position as a Boston Crab, but instead you've got their legs wrapped around one of your legs and like kind of drenching onto their lower spine. So you've got 2 guys in the middle of the ring doing submission holds with 2 guys that are in a position where they could tap out at any moment. you're kind of like keeping on the edge of your seat. Who's going to tap out first? Who's going to take the win? Are they going to break the hold to try and stop the other person? And at one point, MJF is going to go for this like tap out, but they're so close to each other in the middle of the ring at this point that Jack Perry grabs onto his wrist and like holds it up so he can't slam onto the ring mat to submit. And they're just kind of like putting him into this position where he can't quit because no one else wants to lose. Everyone wants to take the title for themselves. And it's just fun little moments like that keep going. And then a few minutes later, there's a actual 4-way chain where each one of them are putting the next person in like a submission hold. So you've got like all 4 guys in a square in the middle of the ring, all locked into like each other's submissions, trying to make someone else tap out it next in the chain. And they're holding that for a few moments. Crowd's going ballistic. It's a lot of fun watching this happen. And yeah, you just don't get a lot of spots like these in these type of matches. It's really amazing to see what all of these guys like are coming up with in the middle of the ring.
That sounds fucking wild. I maybe it's because you're describing it. Like it's over in like 10 seconds in the actual match. But yeah.
No, those holds are held for quite a while because this match.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
Yeah, this match went for almost half an hour. So all 4 guys are giving it like their best performance for almost 30 minutes straight. Because like I said, there wasn't a lot of moments where any of them got a downtime. Like maybe they were out for 2 to 4 minutes just to catch their breath for a little bit. But for the majority of the match, all 4 people were involved in some way. In the end, MJF won. The big heel got his win. He's still holding on to the title. But all 4 guys looked amazing in this match. Like at any point, you could have seen any one of them winning. And that's like what you want in wrestling. You want to believe in the performance. You want to know that everyone's competing to the best of their ability and anyone could have come away with the match decision. And yeah, like they did an amazing job. It was probably the best wrestling match I've seen all year since I've started back up.
Ah, okay. Wait, so hang on. Actually, no, never mind. I was going to ask so this is AEW, right?
Yes.
Okay, and that's not the same as WWE.
No, they're competing brands.
Okay, competing brands. That's my third question.
Yeah.
Okay. Do they ever like sort of acknowledge the other one exists, or is it like a no? Look at me.
AEW acknowledges WWE more than WWE does to them, but there have been moments where like WWE has acknowledged that AEW exists, but they tried really hard to keep it hush hush. It's become even harder for them to do that because Cody Rhodes is on WWE now, and he was one of the founding fathers of the AEW company. It's just that he wasn't great as like a managerial position. And I think WWE offered him a really good deal to go and like finish the legacy of his father in that company. So he's gone back to finish like that. Next up is the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite. Now, I said before that a 4-person match is pretty messy. This is a 4 versus 4 match tag team style.
Jesus fucking Christ.
But again, this isn't a regular wrestling match. This is just watching chaos unfold in the arena for shits and giggles because there was no real wrestling in this match at all. Like to the point where, so the Elite comes out to their entrance music. They come out regularly, go down the ramp into a ring, pumped up. Blackpool Combat Club, they come out to, well, we're in the middle of the stage. They have a cover band playing a really, really bad cover of Wild Thing, which is their theme music. And BCC comes out through the crowd. They come down like the stairways towards the arena, and that's kind of their entrance. And so the Elite, instead of waiting for them to come down, they jump the barriers, go up the stairs,
I love it,
and start beating on each other. The bell's rung, so the match officially starts because anything can go in this match. They eventually make their way down the ring. But there's these 2 wrestlers, Claudio and Matt Jackson. Claudio being from BCC and Matt Jackson from the Elite. They literally take the match up through the crowd, through like the exit doors into where like they're serving all the food around the arena. Going even further through that into like the parking lots, into the back of a pickup truck, and fighting on the back of that until one of them gets knocked out. And until Matt Jackson gets knocked out and Claudio comes back down to the ring. Still very early in the match, like the first 10 minutes, I want to say it was. There's so much shit happening in this match, like everyone's spread out so far. That's it. They have to broadcast it in picture-in-picture mode where they've got like 2 different cameras showing 2 different spots of the arena of what's going on. And at one point, the 2 brothers, Matt and Nick Jackson, they get up to where the band is doing Wild Thing because they're still playing the song. They've been playing this song for about 5 to 10 minutes and haven't stopped at all. The lead singer takes off his jacket, showing that he's got like a Blackpool Combat Club shirt on, like a big supporter of them. So they super kick him in the face, and that's how they stop the song. The singer stops, and the band keeps playing for about another 10 seconds to do like the end of song solo sort of thing and fade out.
That sounds like it'd be. That sounds like it's very cool, but then at the same time, you're singing, and then someone comes in, fucking fly kicks you. That's actually no. That was it a shit song though?
He was a really bad singer. Wild Thing is a good song. He was not doing it justice. Like, this was a really ear-grating vocal cover of it that he was singing. So they got a massive pop for stopping him from singing.
Yeah, it's probably doing everybody a favor.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, 5 minutes, Jesus.
There's also a lot of stupid, dumb stuff happening in this match. Like, there's this guy named Adam Page. A few weeks ago, he made his comeback, and this wrestler named Bryan Danielson attacks him and uses a screwdriver on his eye. And so they, like, quotation marks, they injure his eye with a screwdriver. And so he's come out, he's wearing an eye patch the entire match. This is probably like 10 minutes into the match now, 15 minutes into the match. Adam Page and...
tell me he starts with, "Are you ready, kids?" No SpongeBob reference. He's got an eye patch. You have to run Patchy the Pirate, surely.
No, he's a cowboy. He's a cowboy wearing an eye patch.
Pivot.
No, he's dead set on this character.
Okay, well, I think my character's better. And not just because we both share the same name, Pat.
Yep, cowboy. It's cowboy, but it's cowboy.
But yeah, so he's him and Bryan Danielson are alone in the ring together, and like he does like the slow reveal of taking off the eye patch to reveal that his eye's all healed now. Pulls out a screwdriver to be like, "I'm gonna do the same thing to you now." But he gets jumped before that happens, so that kind of dampens the mood for the crowd. But like stupid shit like that gets a lot of people going. I thought it was really funny that they like try to make this big reveal out of the eye patch moment.
As baller as that is, because I can imagine that playing out as like a pretty sick moment. I think it would have been way better if he slowly takes off an eye patch to reveal another eye patch.
Yeah, I'd love that. I love when you have like the eye patch under the eye patch or the mask under the mask moment. I think they might have actually done that with someone at some point. Like they took off their mask and they were wearing another mask underneath. It might have been like Rey Mysterio or someone at some point.
I mean, he is mysterious.
Another dumb thing that happens is that, like, after being knocked out on the back of a pickup truck, Matt Jackson makes his way back down to a ring, and we don't see it, but he's strapped fireworks to his boots. So when he super kicks someone, they just go off in their face and, like, sets blaze to his boots. So as payback, the person that he super kicks, John Moxley, he pulls out, like, a bag of thumbtacks, spreads them across the ring, and at this point, because no one wants to put up with fireworks on the boots, they've ripped off Matt Jackson's boots. And so he picks him up and slams him feet first into all the thumbtacks.
Did they say, "What are those?"
No, unfortunately not. But,
darn, maybe next time.
But yeah, like, I hope I'm painting the picture of, like, this is all just dumb bullshit for the sake of doing a dumb bullshit match. There's no actually wrestling going on in this match. It's just half an hour of pure carnage. It's a lot of fun to watch. And along with the Four Pillars match, this absolutely made the 4 hours of this pay-per-view worth it just for those 2 matches alone. It was absolutely worth sitting through everything else just to get to those 2 matches. And yeah, so overall, like, a 9 out of 10 wrestling show, I'd say.
A lot of 9s being thrown around today.
You know who else throws 9s around?
Me, I'm a 9 out of 10.
Well, I was going to say Rey Mysterio, but...
No, that's WWF. He's not allowed to. We're talking about AEW here. Come on, Pat. Keep up, man. Keep up. Is that true, Saif?
There is no WWF anymore. That's the World Wildlife Foundation.
It's true.
That's what I mean. Isn't Rey Mysterio that big panda on the cover?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
not this time.
He is endangered. That's true.
He's too small to be a panda. He's like that baby panda in that YouTube video where he sneezed and scared the other big panda. No? I'm the only one that's seen that?
No. I was thinking that. So, fair and good meme. I was thinking of the one where Homer in the panda suit falls into the panda enclosure.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Ugh. I don't think he falls in. Like, Mr. Burns pays him to do that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, maybe. It's such an old episode now that, yeah, you're probably right. Man, I was sort of reminiscing about sort of nostalgic / old things other than AEW, which I guess was like recent, but like Borderlands 2, Persona 3, and that episode of The Simpsons, I don't think any of them are younger than 10 years old.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
Crazy times.
Borderlands 2 is like 11 years old, I think.
It is.
Yep.
It is, as I said when I was talking about it.
The Xbox 360 is a retro console.
You are correct.
Shut up.
No, he's correct. The Wii, PS3, and 360 are retro.
I don't like this.
Give it 5 more years and the PS4 will be retro.
Okay, too far.
Now it's real. Cool. Well, you gave it a 9 out of 10. What platforms is it available on?
Fuck to find. No, I had to go and find it online. Like I had to go and find a re-upload.
Did you emulate it?
No, but it was emulate adjacent, I guess. Is watching it on a Daily Motion mirror site counting as emulation?
I think for functional intents and purposes, yeah, probably. I'm surprised you didn't pay for it legitimately and then still go and find a re-upload. I don't know
where to. Like ESPN has the broadcasting rights in Australia, and they don't put on the pay-per-views until like 3 months after they've aired. So I do not know where to watch this legitimately in Australia.
I hate that, that's the entire Steam piracy thing in a nutshell. I want to pay money for this. I can't.
Yeah. They're weekly shows. They don't air them live either. And I don't know why. ESPN is broadcasting these on demand on the like KO and whatever websites they have. But they still like cut sections out of it for time reasons. Like, what time reasons do you have?
Oh my god, are you watching AEW Abridged?
Basically, like 2 weeks ago, I watched an episode and it cut out this entire section of Christian Cage doing a really long segment. Like they just cut that out completely.
But the pirated copy cut it out?
Or no, the ESPN copy cut it out. Like the legitimate copy cut it out.
Don't worry, they'll release that segment as on-disc DLC.
No, they just released that segment on AEW's YouTube. So whenever they cut something out, I have to go and watch it on YouTube.
That's for free, but that's legal and free.
Yeah, that's legal and free. So I'm a morally upstanding citizen in those cases.
That's strange.
Based wrestling enjoyer. Anyway, cool. Any final thoughts, final words on AEW, Seth?
Not really. I just really enjoyed this show. It's probably the best pay-per-view I've seen all year, except maybe some things that happen in WrestleMania. But even then, like the 2 matches that I really enjoyed in this pay-per-view blow out of the water anything else I've seen this year.
Right. Well, I guess with that, we come to the end of Round Lunch for this week. Thank you both, as always. Means we get to move on to part 2 for this week, which is, of course, the news. Seth, you scrolled in crayon, put me in, coach, at the start of the news segment. Was there something that you wanted to share?
Yeah, so I have 2 news dockets that I didn't put into the Google documents.
You hold note on this?
Yeah, because I want to bring these raw to you guys because I know one of them is going to make Stephen...
Love it when you're raw, Douglas, Seth.
One of them is going to make Stephen angry, and the other one... We've mentioned king hitting Stephen a couple of times, but one of them is going to make Stephen want to king hit me. Now, I'm going to... Patrick, you asked Stephen a couple of times, so I'm going to ask you, which one would you like to hear first?
if we get the king hitting one out of the way, then we don't have to listen to the dumb second one.
See, that it's for that exact reason I want to do it the other way around. Give me the first one first. I want to end with violence.
You want the first one first? Well, that's fucking confusing.
All right.
I know someone's lost their shoe.
Fun game, guys. How many seasons did Babylon's Fall last?
Less than one.
1, 2? Yeah, I don't know. Do they even have seasons?
It was technically 3, wasn't it?
It was... Actually, no. Maybe it was technically 3. No. It was 2. But what was going to be the third season, they just extended the length of season 2 through that season.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I would like to formally...
Also, sorry, Saif, just a little mild nitpick spell, I noticed it. What part of that question was fun?
It was fun for me.
You promised a fun question.
It was fun for me.
Be better.
Because I got to remind you guys of Babylon's Fall. Now, to remind you guys of even worse things, I would like to formally congratulate Dragon Ball The Breakers for having more seasons with more content than Babylon's Fall did.
Jesus.
Because on June 9th, they are releasing season 3 with the Ginyu Force as new characters.
In the wise words of Mr. Charlie Moist Critical White, let's go, baby!
Yeah, I don't know. How's that game going, Saif? You enjoying your purchase?
How many hours per season have you played, Saif?
Oh, per season. Okay, let me break it down into those averages. So I have played 2.8 hours, which I guess is 1.4 hours per season so far.
What a fucking waste. It's people like you that makes them think this game should have been made. Whatever.
Oh my god,
I'm glad to be part of that.
You know what? You're right, Saif. I'm coming over to your house.
No, this isn't the King Hit one yet. This isn't the King Hit one yet.
I'll be there soon.
I can't believe Saif gets 2 for the price of 1.
So now for the King Hit one.
Queensland scored.
Now for the King Hit news docket. So over in Japan, the Ryuga Gotoku,
good start.
The Ryuga Gotoku company, the people that make the Yakuza games, now just called Like a Dragon, they did this competition where they had a bunch of women compete to see who would be put into the they would be a hostess in the next game and a party member in Yakuza 8. Yeah, Yakuza 8. So popular VTuber K-Son, formerly known as Kiryu Coco, won that competition. So she absolutely loves this series, and she's going to be formally inducted into the series, and I think she also won 1 million yen.
It's not a real person. It's not a real person.
No, it's a real... it's her real... It's the real person that's going to be in the game, not her VTuber self. It's just that she's really popular through VTubing, but she's done other stuff as microphone girls and MCs before.
Fucking strange. That whole hostess thing, mini games in Yakuza, is the strangest thing. It didn't make you that angry, Saif.
Damn it, I got it the wrong way around.
But if it was actual VTuber being the Hatsune Miku type of thing, being the hostess, you might have gotten me, but this is just a bit weird.
That's the whole third or Electric Gym. I keep forgetting her name. Electric Gym. Is it? That doesn't sound right. In Scarlet
it starts
Violet.
with an E. Fuck yeah! I was thinking about Gen 5.
Anyway, you know who I mean. It's like that sort of thing of just she just appears on the screen, not even a party member. She's just in the screen.
Diono.
The VTubers and the skin personas are taking over.
And there's dumb fucking shark teeth. God, I want to talk about King
I hate
Hits.
the shark teeth.
The things I do to her.
Wait,
one punch.
Where did shark teeth come from?
Diono's got shark teeth.
Saif needs a moment to process the shark teeth.
That was a 6-second long silence. That was so uncomfortable, fellas. Whoa, is that the time?
No, I forgot which. Oh right, no, I forgot. I forgot who Iono was for a second. I'm trying to think what VTuber is Iono. Forgetting that is the fucking Pokemon character.
Pokemon VTuber, baby, borderline canon.
I mean, she's not really a VTuber. She's more of a streamer.
Streamer and VTuber, same thing.
She's just straight up a streamer in the Pokemon world.
Hate that.
A VTuber is when you have a
There are like
animated character.
Like, the amount of streamers that make it famous are like 3. I don't know why.
So
anyway,
I don't know how to tell you this. Pokemon's animated, my guy.
Yeah, but she's in an animated world, which makes her like an animated character in an animated world.
I'm done with this conversation. We're not wasting any more time talking about VTubers.
Margot Robbie, 1 second.
So
I don't know about Margot Robbie, but Marilyn Monroe. Now, let's talk about her contributions to VTubing.
No, I was thinking that I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. But anyway, we are going to move on.
Hey, Marilyn Monroe and VTubing in the same sentence. Holy shit. Man, she would have loved Twitch, I reckon.
Okay, so quick question, Steve. You want to cast your mind back to like a minute when I said we were going to move on? What happened?
I'm not Steven, but no.
Speaking of things running out of steam, that was a good one.
I'm too scared to applaud him.
No, damn. Guys, I need a minute. This is my thing, and he just came and did me like that. Huh.
Did you roll even?
Yeah, he almost did me roll like Nintendo wants to do Steamroar for trying to host Dolphin, the Wii emulator on the Steam platform. Boom, got one back. Fuck you, Steve.
You did. No, that was good. That was a good one. Yeah.
Thank you. Gotta stay on top. Gotta remind the youngins why I'm on top. Maybe you don't need reminding of that. Anyway, so Nintendo did something a little bit funny. They issued a DMCA takedown notice to Steam. Where the DMCA, of course, everyone knows, stands for the Digital Millennium Copyrights Act. The problem is, there's no copyright infringement.
Nintendo is doing this as a warning, saying, hey, if you guys put Dolphin on Steam, we're going to sue.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is, I'm surprised they haven't sued already, because last time I checked, Steam does have like Let's Plays and multiplayer things for Nintendo games, don't they? Actually, shit, maybe they don't, but I'm trying to make the reference to Point Crow.
There's no overlap there.
Shit. I was just trying to reference the Point Crow thing of just like, oh yeah, no, you just upload a video and Nintendo's like, oi, stop having fun.
Very common Nintendo hates fun. Yeah, this is interesting because like the whole thing of them putting it up there was like, well, technically people should be using their own games. But from my understanding of it, as someone who does not understand how this works, is that the actual emulator itself like replicates the character or the code breaking software that Nintendo uses in their game. So it's like, while it doesn't breach copyright, having that, the way that Dolphin works essentially automatically breaks copyright, regardless of whether you own the game or not.
It doesn't. Like, emulator software is not illegal, so... Hold on.
Yeah, but... Whoop, someone's getting a call. It's Nintendo. Steph, get out of the house.
Why do I hear Nintendo music?
Wii Shop music.
It's just getting louder and louder. And more off pitch.
Emulators themselves aren't illegal to have or make. So there's like no actual copyright infringement by Steam hosting the emulator, and they host emulators already on Steam. So yeah, there's no issue with the emulator itself. It's what people use the emulator for that is more of a legal gray area.
Yeah,
but I think it's legally gray.
Legally, I don't think Nintendo has a foot to stand on here, but no one wants to go against Nintendo, so they just spend to their whims.
If anybody's going to fight back, it will be Steam. Steam has not issued any sort of statement against it. So it'd be very interesting to see what they do.
It's a Dolphin team that have removed it from Steam just to be cautious because they don't want to get in trouble with Nintendo.
Or Steam. Dolphin has been around to Steam. Yeah.
Dolphin has been around for 15 years. So
ages.
Having that, if they get in legal trouble and have to shut that down, that's 15 years of work down the drain, basically.
Yeah. And it's 15 years of fucking hard work. The people that they'll be at the people that have done anything in terms of emulation, they will be at the pearly gates of heaven. St. Peter won't even ask them anything and be like, nah, you're in. They'll be on God's right hand.
Thank you for your service.
Literally.
Bro, they won't even need to be at the pearly gates. They can literally emulate heaven.
Oh, wait, hang on. Let him die.
Saif, give me the belt.
No. There's enough belt cracking going on around here.
True. Speaking of belts, WrestleQuest being launched August 8th. Saif, I know that you and I have a little bit.
We've joked about this multiple times about where is it.
With that, but I was also thinking like you and I have also got like a little bit of an eye as to see how this game does, because I'm open to the idea of playing this.
Yeah, no, I'm keeping an eye on it. They released a new trailer to go along with the release date announcement, and it's kind of more of the same with this trailer, but it still looks really good.
Yeah,
like really fun. And having like all these old WWF wrestlers, but legally they're not those WWF wrestlers, and seeing how they interact with the battle system is really fun. Like, this is going to be a very interesting game to play.
The one thing that I am nervous about is that I see that we've also got newly announced iOS and Android versions. So,
do you think that's why they delayed it?
What are your reason to delay it though?
There's a part of me that thinks that it could be, but it's more just, we keep talking about the whole like, oh, and it's a mobile game, and it's like, oh god. I don't know. It's like, I guess my concern is that this has always been lauded as PlayStation, Xbox, sort of like big first party consoles, PC, all that. And then, like, Switch, okay, a little bit of a degraded capability there. And also iOS and Android now. Well, okay, now what are we actually getting? Because if we're getting a game that is running the same on all of the platforms, we're going to be underutilizing the shit out of all the, like, PS5s and Xbox Series. So my concern is that if the focus is on having the same experience on all platforms...
We scored. Phew, that was good. That's just eyes up footy. Oh, let's go.
That was close. I thought I randomly got an Amber Alert from that siren. Yeah, so that's my concern. When I see that they're attaching iOS and Android to it, I feel like that could then be justified as to making the experience on other consoles worse to make it better for iOS and Android.
I don't really see that, and it's going to iOS and Android through Netflix, which I think is streaming the game, not going to be native on iOS and Android.
Literally worse.
But yeah,
the idea of Netflix gaming, I do not like.
But no, like, this game didn't look like it was going to utilize those consoles all that much anyway. Like, a Switch version of this game made a lot of sense because there's not a whole lot going on, like, visually or, like, mechanically. It looks like a fairly standard game that could have run on anything, really. So, yeah, I'm not all that concerned about. Like, maybe the biggest concern is, like, what if they make some systems, like, very mobile gacha-fied, but they haven't shown anything that hints at that. So I'll be cautiously optimistic on that end.
Yeah, I hope you're right. It's just, I don't know, there's a bad taste in my mouth when I see, and it's coming to mobile platforms. It's just like, did it have to? Anyway, yeah, cautiously optimistic is probably a good way to put it. We'll see. We got a couple months to wait. There might be more that comes out about it, but cool. And speaking of things coming to other platforms, nailed that one. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart coming to PC and iOS. I'm kidding. No, it's coming to PC in like a month, like two months.
A couple of weeks, like less than 2 weeks, I think.
July 26th.
Oh wait, no, sorry, that's the original. That's the original release date. I read the smaller text before I read the big text. That's on me.
I'm so confused. Being like, holy shit, are we July already? Yeah, I know. Okay, I've seen a lot of takes about this of people going, "Wow, PlayStation's just running out of exclusives." I don't.
It's
really...
been 2 years. It's fine to port it 2 years later.
Yeah, I'll wait. I will wait. I am a patient man. I don't care about this game, but I will wait.
That's the other thing. I'm really curious about the minimum specs because I feel like this game is at minimum going to have to run on like a $2,000 computer, maybe more expensive than that.
Okay, well, let's be clear here. Redfall and Golem and Jedi and everything else also has to run on a $2,000 computer. But...
Hey, Jedi works good on consoles. Fuck you. Simply buy a console.
So
yeah, and I'll buy a PS5 and play this game 2 years early and not have to spend $2,000 on a PC for it.
Let's just be careful
Instead,
about...
I will just pay $900 for a PS5.
Slinging specs around. The main take that I've seen is that this is taking another one out of the exclusives for PlayStation. But I don't know. It just it seems like such a weird. It seems kind of gatekeepery of like, what's the point of buying a PlayStation? Everything comes to PC. Good. And like, I don't know. I think as you were saying, like a PlayStation 5 runs this very well. That's what I played it on, and it looked absolutely gorgeous. So if your machine can run it, sweet. If it's going to be another Last of Us Part 1 debacle, then
I doubt it because this is being done by the people that ported to Spider-Man games, and those were ported really well.
Well, I was thinking just the some of the bugs that could exist in this game would be hilarious, but yeah, I guess it could also just work well as a port. I don't know. Fuck me, I guess.
Ratchet getting Joel's fuzzy eyebrows would actually make sense since that's Japanese Ratchet.
But yeah, no.
You mind explaining that one to me, big fella? I thought you were going to, but you sort of just left it. Why does Japanese Ratchet have eyebrows?
I don't know why, but when they localized the Ratchet and Clank games in Japan, all the cover art just gave him really fuzzy black eyebrows instead of like the brown eyebrows he already has.
What the fuck? That's crazy. I will now be Googling Jak and Daxter furry. Okay, that wasn't that's just one of the characters in Jak and Daxter that gets turned into an Ottsel. Actually, she starts off human and is in love with Daxter. Okay, I don't care.
You were going to Google it jokingly, so I'm giving you the real answer.
Anyway, is this the sort of thing that you'll be likely to pick up / play again, Seth?
Not on PC, no. I'm kind of worried that maybe my PC can't run it well, but I know it runs fantastically on PS5, my PS5 as it is. And I don't have an ultra-wide monitor, so the only thing that the PC port would give me if I could run it well is potentially like the uncapped frame rates. And I don't think that's enough for me to double dip on the game when I already enjoyed a lot on PS5 and can just go back to that version whenever I want.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it's
I'm the same.
Well, the Japanese one. Sorry, fuck. I'm looking at the localization thing. I can't find it.
The eyebrows one. It's okay. You can say it.
Yeah, I can't find it. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Well, the PS5 one already runs at 60 frames. Like, I can't even see more than 30. So.
Oh, here we go.
Higher than that. Nah, fuck. Here we go.
How many eyes?
Here comes the Redfall Defense Force.
Who?
You have 2 eyes. Each one sees in 30. Boom. You need 60.
Oh, hang on. No, I thought one eye. Look, it doesn't matter. I'm in a fuckwit. Move on. I do not care. I will not be buying this game.
Speaking of things I won't be buying, Wolong is releasing Fallen Dynasty DLC. Wait. Oh, man, I fucked that up. Wolong Fallen Dynasty is getting DLC.
You having a stroke there, big fella?
Maybe. Is your team in State of Origin winning yet?
Yeah, it is actually. It is.
Yeah.
Have you not been listening to me the entire thing?
Population
active listening, big fella.
Well,
we've got 7 minutes left. Oh, hang on. Oh, fuck. They might be on here, actually.
Hey, here we go. Yeah.
But he stepped out. He stepped out. He fell over. Holy shit, that's frustrating.
Wow, I know the feeling. You two played Wolong. Thoughts on the DLC?
It's coming out a couple of days after Final Fantasy 16. I will blatantly ignore it.
I don't care. like Roadlong was all right. I don't care about it enough to even replay the game, let alone get some DLC to it. Maybe if it comes to Game Pass, which I highly doubt it will. But no.
Yeah, I don't believe DLC comes to Game Pass. At least not normally.
Not commonly from what I've seen.
It's funny, it comes out in a month, and it literally the only information we have has new stages and enemies, a new difficulty level, and new weapon type. That's all we got?
Yeah, that's usually what Koei Tecmo does with these games. Like Neo and Stranger of Paradise kind of went through the same motions of a month before release. Hey, we're going to release a couple of new stages, a new difficulty level, a new weapon, and we'll announce more like a week from DLC launching.
Cool. Also, in announcements, we have the official trailer for Silent Hill Ascension. I've never been a big Silent Hill person. Either of you two?
No, I'm more of a Loud Hills person.
Silent Hill is something I've appreciated from afar in knowing that it's like a hugely influential series, but I've never actually gotten a chance to go and play them myself yet.
Is this going to be your chance to step into that realm, that world?
I guess I'm interested enough to check it out, but this isn't like a traditional Silent Hill thing. This is like an interactive media sort of thing, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see what they try to do with it.
Anyway, there's a trailer up.
It's a big scary game. I hate big scary games. So it's an interactive streaming series. What the fuck does that mean?
I think like that Black Mirror interactive thing.
So is it a game?
It's a series.
Yeah, but like, you know what? It doesn't matter.
It's like Twitch plays Pokemon.
Yeah, but
I can't wait for the Twitch plays Silent Hill.
Oh my god, I'm watching the trailer and there was just a fucking zombie woman with a vagina for a face.
Okay, that's based, first of all. So
she has a name.
The first paragraph
it's a vagina face.
The first paragraph we have from this article, Genvid, Behavior Interactive, Bad Robot Games, blah, 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 in partnership with Konami, have released a new trailer for Silent Hill Ascension, as well as announced that the interactive streaming series will launch in 2023. Platforms are still to be unannounced. Like, is that streaming platforms? Is that gaming platforms? Like, what are we working here? Yeah?
Most likely going to be streaming platforms, or maybe it'll be on console, and it's like one of
Quantum Break?
No, not Quantum Break. There's a game that came out on
Xbox. It's Quantum Break. I'm telling you right now, it's Quantum Break.
I think As Dusk Falls. Let me Google that. It was.
Well, that's just like.
It was like an interactive narrative, but there was also an element where you could turn on, like, Twitch watchers could help influence the decisions. So maybe like something kind of like that. If they do it on console.
That was on the Xbox last year.
Yeah. It was called As Dusk Falls.
I was thinking of that. I don't know what I was thinking of. Someone on PlayStation 4. Oh, fuck, they got another try. They got another fucking try. What's the fucking point? Every fucking year. Never seen the most biased ref in the entire world. Anyway.
New South Wales skill issue.
Literally the ref is just like, nah, we want Queensland to win. We're just going to like ignore things. Yeah, man, whatever.
New South Wales cope.
Unfortunately, very common New South Wales L.
Hey, I was going to segue off of speaking of L's, but I don't think that's the case here. It's an L for spelling. Dragon Quest Infinity Strash. What happened? Yeah. We got a typo in the title? What's happening here?
No, that's the name of the attack.
Yeah.
It's a typo.
No, so say the whole title and Seth and I will break it down for you.
Infinity Strash, Dragon Quest, the Adventure of Dai.
Yeah. So Infinity Strash is the name of his attack.
Is a typo.
No, Infinity Strash is the name of his attack.
Right.
Dragon Quest is the name of the series. The Adventure of Dai is the anime.
Okay. There's still a typo.
Patrick, you're talking about anime now.
And so for all the
look at that, my stroke's back.
But also, the Adventure of Dai is spelled D-A-I. So
no matter how much I want to DIE. Yeah, anyway, it's coming out on September 28th for a bunch of platforms. I sounds so dumb. My only familiarity with Dragon Quest is one, hearing Steve talk about it, and two, Smash Brothers. So how interesting is this to you two?
Semi-interesting. It's interesting as a short-time fan of Dragon Quest. I played one of their games. This is a hack and slash game. It is not a turn-based RPG like it usually is.
Yeah, that's what has me interested as well. I've read a little bit of the manga for Adventure of Dai. The Viz Shonen Jump app only has about 50 chapters. I think this goes for
finished?
Yeah, this finished ages ago. This was like an 80s or 90s manga.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the Adventure of Dai is like based off Dragon Quest 1 or something, or it's a weird spin-off.
Yeah, it's a weird spin-off manga, like just its own little like spin-off universe manga that was done for fun.
Okay.
And it for all intents and purposes, it's an official Dragon Quest product still. So yeah, they've done a new anime for it recently. Like, I don't know where this push came from recently. They had Dai in Jump Force when that came out. Then they've done the anime recently. Now they're doing this game. I'm happy there's this push because it's what I've read was a really enjoyable run so far. And yeah, like this being an action RPG, like spinning off even more, like showing what Dragon Quest can be like as an action RPG instead of a traditional turn-based RPG like the entire mainline series will be forever. I'm interested to see how it goes.
I will. Yeah, I'm probably not going to get it unless it becomes like really good. But it's nice that they're trying something different with Dragon Quest. And wherever Dragon Quest 12 or whatever, whenever that comes out in the next 40 years. Actually, I reckon that gets like a release window at the next month in Game of Christmas.
There's a Dragon Quest live stream event happening soon. I don't know when exactly, but it's soon. So we'll probably hear more about it there, and a Dragon Quest free remake.
Yeah. All right. Done.
Done? Is it over?
Yep.
Anime has been defeated.
I no longer feel as alone in the dark. Crazy I say that, actually.
Hey,
Speaking of alone in the dark... it's launching October 25th. This was the David Harbour reference that we were ripping Steve out before for not knowing that he was part of Stranger Things. But, as I always say, Stranger Things have happened. This is... we've talked about this once before, but to be honest, I don't remember a huge amount other than it's got a couple famous actors in it. I don't know. It's on the periphery.
Yeah, no, we talked about this off podcast because it happened. It was announced the day after we recorded last week.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah, it's on the periphery. I don't know if it's something I'm paying super close attention to at this stage.
I'm going to play the prequel at some point soon. I haven't had a chance to do it the past week, but I am interested in it. I think I bought the entire Alone in the Dark series recently when it was cheap on Humble Bundle. So this is just one of those things I'm kind of interested in seeing.
Yeah. We have so the whole shtick of this one. Players will experience a different take on the same story depending on which character they choose, where there are only two characters? Is that... Because we talk about having...
Yeah, I think it's just two.
Yeah, we talk about famous actors, David Harbour and Jodie Comer?
Jodie Comer.
Yeah, it is Comer. As having two famous actors attached to it, but I don't know if that just means there are other characters that are less famous. Or, surprise third character stretch goal, who knows? I don't know. It's on the periphery. I want to see a bit more about it, because this is the reboot. I never really played the originals. I don't know. Not super interested.
This is like the second reboot as well. Like there was the originals that are old 90s adventure games, or like not adventure games, but like click and point sort of, I think, mystery horrors. And then there was a Xbox 360 era reboot, which was like more of I think it was more like a shooter action game, but like keeping some of those horror elements.
I have a vague recollection of that box
Yeah,
art.
I only played like a demo of that one. But yeah, no, this is like another reboot that's going to go more towards the direction of what the original series was, but like a 3D game.
And eventually there'll be so many reboots that none of them will be Alone in the Dark anymore. They'll have each other. Yeah. Anyway, coming out just before Halloween, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, and like I said before, the prequel's out now, so if you have a chance to download it and give it a try, see if you're interested. That's a good thing to get into.
Mm-hmm. Next up on the list, we have I quite like the idea of this next one. We have the developers of a game wanting to kickstart the localization effort for a game that's already been made. I think this is quite clever, actually.
Yeah, no, this is really cool.
This is actually a false flag operation by me to put my thoughts on Kickstarter into the chat, isn't it?
No, you already have State of Origin. Keep it at that. We can't overload your brain with two things.
That's fair. I'll mute myself and only really talk if I find something good.
Oh, that's the worst. Anyway, as of recording, it has not quite reached its goal of 3,500 New Zealand dollars. Translate that into whatever real currency you want. So it hasn't quite reached it. It's got 11 days to go. There are 19 backers, but I think the fact that it hasn't reached the goal is an excellent indication as to, like, this is literally the point of Kickstarter, that it only makes sense for the company to do it if it knows there'd be enough interest. And currently, there isn't. That might change, who knows? But yeah, I think the use of Kickstarter in this process is very smart.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, there was before this, there was the Wonderful 101 as a Kickstarter for porting the game to other consoles and Steam. And a lot of people kind of like raise their eyebrows at that, but they were like, no, if it's being published through Platinum Games, then that makes sense because they might not have the funds to do it themselves. So this will just be like a interest boost sort of thing. And that worked out for them. So I think this is cool. Like, no one's picking this up to translate this game and officially release it in the West. So they're kind of taking it upon themselves to go like, hey, with some support, we will get this game localized, release it on Steam. And we're not going to make any big grand stretch goals. We just want to have this localized and put out to the rest of the world. And that's yeah, like you said, this is a pretty good way to use Kickstarter. Like, it's not funding an entire game from the ground up, but it's helping spread the game to the rest of the world.
Yeah. Cool. Basically nothing else to contribute. If it's something that you're interested in, actually, I don't even think we mentioned what the game was that's being localized.
Yeah, it's called Questa. It's a hack and slash RPG. And yeah, it's about a third of the way there with 11 days to go. I don't know if this was a short one or if it was like a month long, but hopefully it gets that extra like 2/3 funded before it collapses.
They only need $3,000. Like, it's not that much.
Yeah, no, it's not a big ask. It's just whether there's enough people out there to support it.
Not that much, is it, Steve? You wanna just check in 2K real quick?
No, I don't.
Fair enough.
I'm not saying it's not that much. You know what I'm like. You know what? Fuck you.
You know, I know you're poor. It's fine.
You know what? I'm gonna get this Keychron Q5 Pro, a wireless full and aluminium QMK BIA mechanical keyboard. I don't know what half those words are.
Here we go.
It can be wireless or wired. It connects up to 3 devices. Hot swappable. Who doesn't want to put their keyboard in a microwave? I'm going to stop talking now. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
You make it sound so much like a sponsored segment, yet I don't know what you're talking about.
Neither do I. It just seems like it's a mechanical keyboard.
Speaking of things that should have
lived
lived
it's got a
on
programmable
Kickstarter.
knob. I reckon that guy's wife would like that.
Patrick, would your wife like that? Sorry, third ex-wife.
Yeah, exactly. Third ex-wife. That makes it sound so much worse. Speaking of things that should have lived or died on Kickstarter, Lord of the Rings Gollum. Well, the studio behind it, Daedalic? Daedalic.
Hey, Dalek.
I really don't think that's how you say it. They have come out to say, Smeagol, sorry. It didn't mean to.
We're sorry. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah. The funniest thing, like, it's like that. For those that aren't aware, this Lord of the Rings Gollum came out last week. It looks like a PlayStation 2 game. It plays worse than a PlayStation 2 game. From both it's not fun to play, and when you are playing it and it doesn't break, it's full of fucking bugs. But in their apology, they have a typo in it. They call it the Lord of Ring Gollum. Like, it really shows you that they just don't fucking care.
Every single Twitter reply with that was just Lord of Ring.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh yeah, sorry about that. Oh, by the way, we've got another one in the pipeline. Yeah, maybe that one will be better. Like, what the fuck, man? Jesus Christ. You know what? You're right. I'm going to look up the player count for this.
Oh, no.
Surely.
The thing is, I think the player count will be misleading because I think in a situation like this, it's so bad and gotten so much press. It's like the Scooby-Doo Velma series where people hate watch it. Like, people will have bought and played this game to see if it's as bad as people say it is.
I really wish people didn't hate watch that because it got greenlit for a second season.
I know. And
also, Price is Right bet, I'm going to guess 220 Golem players on Steam right now.
219.
Can't fucking find it. It's not there.
Too low.
They've got the... I know, I found it. Oh, fucking hell. So it has an all-time peak of 502. And how long...
all-time peak?
Yeah. How many do you reckon were playing an hour ago?
220.
100.
Price of Right rules. Pat wins. It's 57.
Undefeated champion.
How many of those people, those 502, were like influencers or like review codes?
I'm playing it ironically.
Man, imagine pre-ordering a game like this and being like, is that it?
Imagine being excited for a video game about Golem.
I think this is the thing that rubs me the wrong way. I get a game being delivered in a sorry state. I hate that it happens, but sometimes it does. The thing that confuses me more about this game specifically than pretty much every other game that's had this similar shtick, and there are great posts of just like mosaics of apology posts from recent games because holy shit, are there a lot. But the thing that hits me sideways with this one is that they say we will do our best to patch the game to. Hang on, let me find the line. Yeah, the game did not meet the expectations we set for ourselves or for our dedicated community. And then they apologize, blah, blah, blah. We are committed to providing you with the patches that will allow you to enjoy the game to its fullest potential. I think that's like, I don't know. Let's take something like, I don't know, Jedi Survivor is an easy one. My understanding, not having played it, is that the game itself had the right pieces. It was just very poorly put together. And so there are a whole bunch of like performance issues and bugs and other things. But in the world where they polish it up and everything, game is good, game is fun, everyone's happy. I don't know. I cannot, gun to my head, I'm asked, what is the fullest potential of Lord of the Rings Gollum? I don't see that being fundamentally different to what we got.
I bet Josh would like it.
I don't think so.
That might be the most savage thing I've ever heard you say.
Yeah, it's
you take that back. I need to
white
knight Josh a bit here.
Yeah, that's probably the rudest thing I've actually. Yeah.
You disgust me.
Yeah, you know what? I don't even want to talk about this anymore. Let's move on.
How's the Blues doing?
Pat, will you tell Saif that I'm no longer speaking with you?
Pat, can you tell Stephen that his audio is spontaneously combusting?
Guys, you're both speaking English. Just speak to each other.
I can't understand him. He's speaking Saif.
But yeah, no, that's... I don't know. This one, like, what can you do? You can iron out some of the bugs, fine. But like, I'm so curious. like, I kind of want a community follow-up post to be like, this is what our expectations of the game were, because I can't fathom, like, you have, I don't know how much money, but like a budget and access to the Lord of the Rings IP, and you're like, let's make a banger of a game. This is what we produce. I don't know. That just doesn't feel like there are expectations set there. I don't know.
I feel like they maybe thought there was an appeal to playing as a little gremlin child, but I can't see it. I don't know who this was for.
I mean, Saif, we already have what's the... I really should have had this joke prepped earlier, but you have such a good setup for it. Is it Streamer Simulator? What's the one where you got to... It's not YouTube Simulator. No, I don't think it's
Live.
called... Is it YouTube Live?
There is one called YouTube Live.
Honeypop Studios.
I don't know.
It's like The Sims, but specifically for streaming. I didn't think they could call it YouTube, because that would have been like too on the nose with... I'm 99%
sure it's called YouTubers Live. Yep, and number 2 just came out.
Shit, okay.
Because I'm not sure if I bought it or if I pirated it or something, but I played it and I'm like...
Pirating video games, Stephen.
Shut up, Seth.
How could you?
You emulated a video game and bought it. I don't know what moral high ground you're on. I'm going to kick you in the throat.
What do you mean? He literally has the moral high ground. The point of emulation is to play games you already own. Seth literally owns it.
Yeah, right. You win this round.
Thank you for running defense,
Seth, will you tell
Patrick?
Pat that I'm no longer speaking with him?
Oh, sick. Stephen's leaving the podcast.
But no, like the idea of playing a dirty gremlin is already explored in YouTube Alive. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm so curious to follow them trying to fix that game, because I'm genuinely curious. No malice towards the developers. I am just curious. What was their expectation for the game? But we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of things going back in the oven for a bit longer, Naughty Dog saying that Last of Us multiplayer needs a bit more time, which, on the face of it, seems like a good thing, but digging a little bit under the surface might be some problems.
Yeah, they put out this statement after a really big rumor came out about The Last of Us multiplayer.
Yep. How excited were you I'm assuming Steve is wearing both honk shoes. But Seth, how excited were you for this?
Not very, because from when they talked about it last year, it sounded like they were trying to do this really big narrative live service sort of thing, and that Factions was just a fun side multiplayer thing in The Last of Us 1. So trying to get like this really big grand narrative and also being live service didn't really appeal to me.
Wait, you're telling me that they wanted to put PvE into a PvP multiplayer game?
Oh, no. It was going to still be PvP, but they were going to like make this huge story around it on why your character is doing the things they're doing, I guess.
I can't wait for them to announce that they've decided to strip out the PvE elements and focus purely on the PvP experience.
Is there something you want to get off your chest about a certain company that little icy? One might even say they're lizardy.
Look, Seth, I said it before, I'll say it again. All we needed was Battle Frontier and Oras, all right?
You know what? You're right. I'm sorry I ever asked.
But no, it is just funny that on the back of the Overwatch 2 news that we get what could be interpreted as a similar, not admission of giving up on it, but that there are troubles. And the rumor, which Seth alluded to, is that because Naughty Dog is owned by Sony was like, hey, hand your brother the controller, and the brother is Bungie because of all the live service stuff that they do with Destiny. And Bungie looked at it and went, I didn't realize you were making Lord of the Rings Gollum.
Wait a second, this is very similar to Destiny 2. We've got to put a stop to this.
Hey, copy my answers, but change it a little bit. No, but Bungie apparently had issues, specifically with the long-term viability of the live service model, which even that is two-faced, right? Because on one hand, yes, I want a live service game to do well and have longevity. On the other hand, that could reek of we can't squeeze enough money out of people playing this. It's not viable for us to run for the long term.
I think, this is specifically Bungie coming in and saying it. So maybe they're like, look, there's not enough here to keep player population up, is my guess.
That's the good ending, and I hope that's the case.
Yeah, so from digging a little deeper into the rumor as well, is that after that Bungie report, the Last of Us multiplayer is basically being run by a skeleton crew to just kind of keep it going in case it does go anywhere. But
that's what they did with Overwatch.
But most of Naughty Dog is being moved over to the next big single player project.
I don't even know why they're making this. Nobody asked for this. It's a single player game. Cool, mad. It's over. Time to go.
Steve. Okay. It's understandable. You're not a big Sony guy. You're not a big PlayStation guy, right? I get it. Naughty Dog, in case you didn't know, only has Last of Us. You might think that they do other games. They don't. They only have Last of Us. If you look at games released, 99% of them are The Last of Us. So, of course, they're going to be working on The Last of Us, the multiplayer game. They're also, as you saw, they got The Last of Us, the television series. There's going to be a Last of Us children's coloring book coming soon. That'll be interesting. There is only The Last of Us. And Pedro Pascal. Praise be his name.
I never thought I'd say it, but I miss Nathan Drake.
I miss him too. Hope he's doing okay.
I was feeling like Uncharted was living a little too long, but you know what? I could go for a fifth one. Sixth one if we count the Vita game.
We don't.
Time to dust off the old what happened to Fast and Furious thing and just go, maybe Nathan Drake should go to space.
We need him to have his own The Rock to counter his Vin Diesel.
He needs family. That's what he needs.
You know, to be fair, Uncharted 3 and 4 were kind of hinting at the theme being family. Three more so was legacy, but there was hints of family there. 4 was very heavy on the family.
The bit where Nathan Drake had to go find the treasure in Paul Walker's Split at the end of Fast and Furious 5.
I was trying to sneak into the Fast and Furious.
That's where the hidden precursor orb is in the next game.
Wait, hang on, precursor orb.
Every Uncharted game has a precursor orb as a treasure.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Interesting. Obviously, for all the memeing that I do of Last of Us, I do really enjoy the lore and the world. Neil Druckmann's generally a pretty smart guy, so if he says that this is a very big, ambitious project, I hope it goes well for him. It is funny, your comment on, like, Factions was good, why don't we just do the same thing? That was the same thing I said with, I really enjoyed the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. I might have been in the minority for that, but it was before loot boxes were, like, problematic and everything else. There were loot box mechanics, but they weren't forced on you. It was a very simple loop, but it was very fun. And so for them to not have it in Legendary Edition was painful. But if they were to say, we're not going to put it in Legendary Edition, and then like a couple months later go, actually, it's going to be so much better than the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, and now it's being run by a skeleton crew because the live service aspects aren't up to snuff, I'd be like, can't we just have, can't we just go back? Like, can't we just...
Yeah, no one was expecting it to be this big, huge thing because, like, The Last of Us multiplayer and Uncharted multiplayer are decently popular, but they just need to be spin-off side modes to the main games. They didn't need to have a massive overarching story to go along with it. So this seems like they got very overambitious and
also
also
fits into the TV show.
Oh god, if they did that, that would have been really bad. I think
Pedro
they were
Pascal
saying that
is literally in the multiplayer.
I may be misremembering, but I think they were going to use the multiplayer to expand on the Wolf and Seraphite storyline.
I think you're right. I remember reading something about that too.
Yeah, so they were getting pretty ambitious with this, and I don't know if that was a good thing for them to do. And again, live service game. I hope it tanks because fuck all the live service model games coming out.
Yeah, fighting words, but it's crazy that you can say something so controversial yet so accurate. Finally, in the news for this week, we have
some
Monster
good news.
Hunter news. Oh, the best news. Based Monster Hunter News Corner. This is a Monster Hunter podcast now. Welcome back to the...
Get ready for an hour of Monster Hunter.
Hunting Monsters Lounge, where we've got nothing but trophies, like literal heads of monsters mounted around the lounge. We have
our table is made of Rathalos bones.
Yeah, that reminds me of I think it might be NCH Productions. One of the animators that is also a big Monster Hunter fan always draws Rathalos plates as a Rathalos holding like a kitchen plate. And so whenever they go anywhere to like any kind of gathering or whatever, they're always bringing like a plate. I don't know. It's just it's like a cute, like, I get it. But so the actual news, already sidetracked, 10 out of 10, is that the final I don't know what you'd call it, like developer it's a sort of news update. It's kind of like what they did for Smash, which I've already forgotten the name of.
They call it a developer roundtable.
I think they're calling this one a developer roundtable because it's the final one. I don't think they normally do developer roundtables. No,
they usually do because they usually have the developers in front of the camera going over like all the different things that are going to be added and sometimes reasonings for them.
All right, cool. I'll just go fuck myself then. But so this one is the last one because it's part of the year of absolutely fantastic content that Capcom has been pumping out into Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. Bittersweet.
In general,
for me.
Capcom in the last year has been pumping out fantastic content in general. We are back to Capcom status.
Yeah, it is bittersweet because I've put hundreds of hours into Rise, and even hundreds of hours into Sunbreak at this point. I'm pretty sure, certainly more than 100. But yeah, this is coming to the end of the content cycle for it, and I assume it'll go into sunset like Monster Hunter World is. But we still have an update, which means a bunch of content. I haven't seen anything to the contrary yet. Admittedly, I haven't looked too hard, but I still think it'll be a subspecies of Malzeno as the final monster introduced in June. We'll have to find out. It would be awesome if I was right, because I've been calling that for about a month now. But the presentation will be June 7th. So chances are maybe this time next week, definitely the episode after next week, will be me discussing it and seeing whether or not I'm right. Anything that you guys want to add?
It'll be June 7 American time, so it'll be June 8th, which will be after we record. So it'll be the next week after that.
Unless we delay.
Unless we delay, yes.
All I'm saying. It's on the table.
It's always in the cards.
It is. The heart of the cards.
But yeah, that's... Yu-Gi-Oh reference.
And then after this digital tool event, we'll have our hard date for the Monster Hunter Rise Farewell podcast.
Where even though when it's not the Monster Hunter Rise Farewell podcast, I'll speak on Monster Hunter for about an hour, but this one I'll speak maybe even 2 hours. What's Saif going to do? Stop me? What's he going to do? Not put the host's audio in? It's crazy.
You don't know what I can do.
I don't. I literally have no idea what you do. You keep sending me invoices for services rendered for Fast Travel Lounge, and I keep sending them straight to spam.
So that's where all my receipts are going. I need those back for tax purposes.
It's only tax season. You better get onto that.
Wow. Trust Steve to talk about tax. Anyway, that's all I
Seth
have.
brought it up.
Yeah, but I'm the editor. I'm allowed to with no consequences.
I bet you edit these nuts.
Hey, Steve, will you inform Steve that I'm no longer... Wait, shit. Anyway.
It's better to just ignore him and move on.
No.
That is the
end. I'm upset my team lost the sports game.
I'm telling you, New South Wales is never going to win.
Yeah, that's Queensland cope.
No, it's a non-footy fan cope.
Yeah.
And
Panthers will win this bit.
And cope you shall. Yeah, so not only is that the end of the news, it's the end of the episode. End of episode 75. No audience question this week. Reasons.
Been going for too long.
We're basically
Stevie tired.
Yep. But if there is an audience question you want us to answer, feel free to get in touch. We're on Facebook at Fast Travel Lounge, Twitter at Fast Travel Lounge minus one of the L's, and mailbag fasttravellounge@gmail.com. If you enjoy what you listen to, give us a like, subscription, rating, whatever you can on the podcast platform of your choice. It really helps us out. But I don't think there's anything crazy happening in the next week that you guys want to hint at. Going once, going twice.
Tears of the Kingdom, I guess.
You said that last week.
I'm saying it again.
I'll say it every week until I'm done. Actually, no, I'll probably touch on Street Fighter 6 a little bit.
Yeah.
Slightly more. You're going to see Second Spider-Verse in cinemas. That's coming out today, I think, technically.
That'll probably be after the next recording.
Yeah. I might see it in this next week. I'm not sure. But yeah, that is certainly
if you do watch it in this next week, try to hold on off talking about it next week because we can go into like a deep dive discussion after I see it because I'm just waiting for my next paycheck before I go see it.
What if we talked about it together in the cinema?
What if we pirated it and watched it on stream?
What if we both King hit Steve?
Hold on. I'm down for this one.
What, pirating it? Well, so you'll pirate Nintendo games, but you won't pirate Spider-Verse. Yeah.
Because I really like Spider-Verse. It deserves my money.
Don't you really like Tears of the Kingdom?
I do, but not enough to give it my money.
You literally only gave it a 10. Whatever.
I gave it a 9. You gave it a 10.
No, I'd never give it a 10. Perfect games do not exist.
Did he give it a 9? Did he give it a 10? This is the end of episode 75. Find out on episode 76. Until then, I've been Patrick. I've been joined by Saif and Steve. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Up the Maroons.
Happy birthday, McDonald's. 30 years in Australia.